forgot to fill them. All right.
You did that. You forgot to tell me. And then,
yeah. Making Joe sweat.
You about to
26.
Oh, okay.
Today's reading to be Ecclesiastes 26, also known as Sirach. Blessed is the man that have a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. A virtuous woman rejoices her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear Yahuwah. Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart toward Yahuwah, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. There be three things that my heart fears, and for the fourth I was so afraid. The slander of a city, the gathering together of an unruly multitude, and a false accusation, all these are worse than death. But a grief of the heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman, and the scourge of the tongue which communicateth with all. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that hath hold of her is as though he held a scorpion. A drunken woman and a gather abroad causes great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
Wow. Wow.
If thy daughter be shameless.
Hold up. Wait. Are we talking about fake eyelashes?
Run that back.
Okay. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
Hey, some of y'all sitting up here saying, well, it said eyelids. You don't say nothing about the BBW, what they call that.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
The fake booties.
Oh, ew. Okay. Ew.
What did it say, lashes?
That's wrong. Okay.
Okay,
I know. I saw it in
gather
Miami.
abroad. What is the gather?
Okay, where we ready?
One that be running their mouth all the time, everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Verse 10. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through over much liberty. Watch over an impudent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found the fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every head shall she sit down, and open her quiver against every arrow. The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. Okay. A silent and loving woman is a gift of Yahuwah, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued. As the sun when it arises in the high heaven, so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house. As the clear light is upon the holy candlestick, so is the beauty of the face in right age. As the golden pillars are upon the sockets of silver, so are the fair feet with the constant heart. My son, keep the flower of thy age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thy own seed, trusting in the goodness of thy stock. So thy race which thou leadest shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent. And harlot shall be accounted as spittle, for a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. But a godly woman is given to him that fears Yahuwah. A dishonest woman condemns shame, but an honest woman reverence her husband. Reverence. Okay. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear Yahuwah. A woman that honors her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonors him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. A loud crying woman and a scold shall be sought out to drive away the enemies. There be two things that grieve my heart, and a third maketh me angry. A man of war that suffers poverty, and men of understanding that are not set by, and one that returneth from righteousness to sin.
Ooh.
Yahuwah prepares such an one for the sword. A merchant shall hardly keep himself from doing wrong, and a hustler, I guess, shall not be free from sin.
And you're right. You said hustler, and you're absolutely correct. Right.
That's what it is.
Right. All right. Hey, hallelujah.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Good reading. Baruch Shabbat, everyone. Hope everyone's feeling all right today.
Great.
No. Thank you. All right. So today, y'all, we're gonna be doing one I haven't done in a pretty long time, y'all. This one is called SELAH. What's SELAH about?
Contemplate, think,
Right.
Reflect.
consider, reflect. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Pause.
So what y'all think this lesson is about then?
Deep.
Reflecting on yourself.
Huh?
To reflecting on ourselves or something?
Yeah, it's a lesson basically just about a foundational lesson on truth. Just some random scriptures that deal with stuff that the world kind of lacking understanding on. If that makes sense. That makes sense?
That very.
All right. And the first place we're going to go here, bear with me one moment. Giving the Father all praises. Man. For his goodness endures forever. We're going to start at Psalm, the 68th chapter. Psalm 68.
Psalm 68.
Yep. 68th Psalm.
68. Not 58. I'm back.
We're going to start this at the third verse. Psalm 68 and verse 3.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
But let the righteousness,
Nope.
but let the righteous be glad.
Hold on a second.
Psalm 68? You said verse 3?
I think I'm in the wrong place. Hold on.
Oh.
Okay, no, I got it. Go ahead. Start again. I'm sorry.
But let the righteous be glad. Let them rejoice before Elohim. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice.
And that's cool because if you are keeping the commandments of the Most High and doing the things that please the Most High, then you should not be ashamed to call yourself righteous. There's nothing self-righteous about true righteousness. Okay? Big difference between righteous and self-righteousness, okay? But that's a whole nother lesson. All right, but he said, but let the righteous be glad. Let them rejoice before Elohim. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. Because we have a lot to rejoice about. Right now, the heathen are rejoicing in all this red and white and green and all of these things that pertain to their observance. Yeah, the winter solstice, the festival of lights, and all these, the Yuletide, and all these other names that they give for this time of year in celebration of the what they call that, the something about the sun, something the sun,
The birth of the sun god, Tammuz.
Yeah, but this is a term they say about the sun, the returning sun, or something.
Oh.
Cause you know it'd be the shortest day of the year, and the sun be coming back or whatever that they celebrate or whatever. But in all of this various things, various versions of the celebration. All right, but we're rejoicing knowing that we follow the one true Elohim of heaven and earth. That he had given us his righteous laws, statutes, his righteous mercy, righteous judgment, and that he allowed us to be sanctified from these things that the world is observing. All right, verse 4.
Sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name. Extol him that rides upon the heavens by his name, YAH, and rejoice before him.
Right, so we see the Father, his name is YAH. The Father allowed them to kind of skip this verse and having his name right here in it, when actually his name is throughout this whole entire scripture.
Make that make sense.
That's right. His name is throughout the whole scripture, but except that they replaced it by what? What did they replace his name by?
Lord
God.
God,
Lord.
Adonai, blood.
Oh yeah, that's it.
So everywhere you see that Lord, Lord, it's supposed to be Yah, Yahuwah. There. But they took it out, but the Father allowed them for some reason to keep his name right here. Then another thing about it is that the people that we know as Jewish people, they have a whole philosophical doctrine regarding not saying the Father's name. Okay? So all these other deities, you can call out their names, but you can't call out the name of the Father.
Selah.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that's a Selah moment, you know. They say, well, I saw a debate on YouTube a few days ago where this Israelite was debating this Jewish guy. And he like, oh, you know, we they call him Adonai or Hashem or whatever. He's like, but look, that ain't in the scriptures the way you call him that. That's not his name, you know. So but that's and so they have that long tradition of not calling out, and they'll be kind of offended even when somebody else is calling his name out. It's kind of weird.
Well,
Huh?
I can just say that, well, I was just starting to think, I kind of got a little deep in my head about it, but the fact of the matter is they're just as brainwashed, and then they're calling on Baal
Right.
instead.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, it kind
Absolutely.
of goes with the category of their lifestyle.
Absolutely. You know, and on that note, speaking of which, it's kind of weird how the Father allowed his name to be sanctified among those that serve him.
True.
Because, like you say, they like, okay, well, we're calling on Baal, i.e. Lord, just like Christianity, they call on Baal, i.e. Lord. And I think people be instinctively knowing. Like, yeah, man, I'm not keeping the commandments, so I ain't gonna use that
And
name.
you know what? He said he will not allow his name to be profaned among the nations.
Among the heathen.
Whoa.
That's why they cannot say his name.
That's right.
Selah.
Hallelujah.
How many times do I gotta say
Hallelujah.
Selah?
But ain't that amazing though? You can tell people all day long the Father's name is Yah, and they'll be like, well, I ain't gonna use it.
Yeah, they're not going to use it.
They're scarred.
Huh?
Scarred.
Yeah.
They don't want to profane it, you know, because they know they're not doing right.
Because they
by
know
the
they're not
Father.
doing right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's powerful. He's
You
powerful.
they ain't praising Yah on Sunday morning.
No.
They ain't praising Yah on their Christmas celebration or Easter. It's amazing. I mean, you would think that'd be one of them things that'd kind of, slide through. There's one preacher, I ain't gonna call his name out, because a lot of people, he's a Christian pastor, or he was a Christian pastor. He died though. But before he died, he was preaching a lot concerning who we were, Israel. He ended up dying, but when he was preaching concerning us being Israel, he wasn't preaching to people about keeping the commandments. You know.
How you gonna preach about the people and not the covenant?
But you know what? You got quite a few people that are doing that. You know, they're like, hey, do y'all know we the chosen people and this, that, and the other? It's just like the whole effect that you see that was going on now with the Hebrews and Negroes dynamic. You know, people getting a little bit, and they're like, oh, I'm acknowledging that we're the people, but then that's where their understanding ends.
Yeah, they don't want to go no farther than that.
Right.
Once you realize we're the people,
right,
the culture scares you.
Right.
You know.
And the thing is with that, it's like, okay, we're the chosen people. What does that mean, chosen? Chosen for what? You know, that sounds like you want a prize or something. I'm chosen. That's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. You're chosen to be a priest nation, to teach the world concerning his laws, statutes, and ordinances. That's what you were chosen to do. What comes first, the people or the position? What comes first? The position comes first. Mm-hmm. Without the position, there would not be no Israel. Mm-hmm. There would not be an Israelite if it had not been for the position. The position is this first. Father gave that to Abraham. Abraham was found father of this position that he gave. Mm-hmm. And he made a covenant with the one man. He made a covenant with him. And all them that fall under his covenant, everybody in his household, Eleazar, he was his servant. I forget if he was Israelite or not. But there were non-Israelites that were in Abraham's household. Was they part of the Abrahamic covenant?
Yeah. In a way, yes.
Huh?
In a way, not like part of, but yeah, but in his household, yes, because
when
he made the agreement, it also was covering everybody.
That's right. Yeah. He said, and what was the first thing that he gave? It wasn't the first thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, I think I know you gave.
Okay, it was the first thing. You know what? Matter of fact, just going outside of the lesson, let's read a little bit about the Abrahamic covenant. Let's read a little bit about that. I'm going to Genesis. And see, when you read it, we read it from historical dynamic, okay? So keep in mind that when we read this, there's no such thing as an Israelite.
Right.
No such thing as an Israelite. Very important. You know what? On the side note, I'm saying that on the side note, in Genesis, the 10th chapter, I get into a dynamic this week with some guy about the term Gentiles, right? I said, bro, he said, well, Gentile, anybody that's not a Jew. It's not Israelite. That's what a Gentile is. And he also says that, because he come from the One West dynamic, a Gentile can also be an Israelite. That was the northern 10 tribes or whatever. I said, well, in Genesis, the 10th chapter, we're not going to read it together. I'm just using this as an example. Genesis 10th chapter, verse 5 says, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, after his tongue, after their families and their nations. Now, there are a lot of proper nouns in this chapter. All of them are nations, right?
Right.
How can the word Gentiles be a religious organization or a religious thought or a philosophical group or whatever?
Right.
Gentiles is a people just like all the rest of the people you read here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
By these were the isles of the Gentiles. Let's say by these were the isles of the Baptists. By these were the isles of the... That don't make sense. These are people. These are the sons of Japhet. By these were the isles of the Gentiles. And why I say son of Japhet? Because you just got finished reading about the sons of Japhet. It says, by these were the eyes of the Gentiles. Now, when you read the word Gentiles here, there's no such thing as an Israelite. There's no such thing as a Jew. There's no such thing as a Hebrew. So a Gentile can't be one that's not none of these, because the Gentile existed before Hebrew, Abraham, Israelite, Jew existed. So that would make that definition incorrect. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Uh-huh.
I was just gonna say, I was trying to see where it is. You know, you have a lot of people not wanting to read the KJV.
Right.
They will read other translations.
Go ahead.
And I think the NIV said these are the owls of the nations.
Yes.
Something like that.
That's what I.
And
Yeah,
so
you have.
I like it.
If you collect all of the other various English written Bibles, they're gonna say, and Jehovah's Witness use that term too, nations. By these were the owls of the nations, because see, nations mean Gentiles. Nations cannot mean Gentiles. Why can't nations mean Gentiles?
Because there is a specific genealogy.
Oh Lord.
You can't.
Genealogy?
Yeah. Genealogy.
So cute.
Like
While he working that out, go ahead. You can give it to me.
Because the word nation is actually written.
Well,
in the
before
same-
you use that like that, but before you say it's written, let's just deal with the word nations, period. Nations is not a proper noun.
Right, that too.
Gentiles is a proper noun.
That's the-
It means it's a specific people. Okay?
Well, Wikipedia does not help that, so just FYI.
I know, don't nothing help that, because you got people
This
that
is
don't
all-
have an understanding of it.
You
This
can't
is
really
saying
go by
non-Jewish.
Wikipedia anymore, because Wikipedia can be changed by
It's
anybody.
opinionated,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very opinionated.
Well,
But Oxford
I'm not.
Dictionary.
Yeah, but guess what? I'm not gonna kick against Wikipedia. But where they got that from, they only copied from other
Right.
reference books that said exactly what that's saying.
Right.
What is it saying there?
Gentile person who is not Jewish.
See that?
Right.
See, right off the bat, it's retarded.
Yes.
There are no Jewish in Genesis the 10th chapter.
And it also says which means a nation.
Right. See, so two definitions that are absolutely false. You cannot substitute a common noun for a proper noun. You can't substitute it.
SELAH.
It's impossible. They cannot equate the same. If I say a man came through the door, that's man. That's improper. That's a common noun. But if I say Yosef came through the door, now we're talking about a proper noun. You cannot substitute a proper noun for an improper noun. That's impossible. Now, let's go other places. Now I want to go to your point. What's your point again?
Well, the term nation was actually listed in the verse, so it would be redundant to say nation.
Right.
Nation.
So let's read that. It said, by these were the isles of the capital Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their Gentiles. Right. Right. You got both words in the same verse. You cannot interchange those two words. So nation cannot mean Gentile. A whole other place. In Japhet, there are nations. In Ham, there are nations. In Shem, there are nations. So why would it be the nations? By these were the isles of the nations. That don't make sense. And the other English says, by these were the isles of the coastland peoples.
Right.
Or by these were the time of the maritime peoples.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
That's what I was going to ask about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm covering it. No. But seriously, those designations make no sense. Because there were coasts in Ham,
Oh,
and there were
yeah.
coasts in Shem.
Mhm.
So it makes no sense.
I thought it did initially.
Right, it makes absolutely no sense. So Gentiles is and those are not even, those are common nouns too, coastland peoples or maritime peoples or whatever. Those are not proper.
I stand corrected. Oxford changed their definition too.
Nah.
Oxford changed it to what?
To say what she said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they all gonna use those definitions, but when you read it out of KJV and you read that term Gentiles, people run from it because Europeans wanted everybody to be a Gentile. I believe that that's the reason why they made it. If you're not a Gentile, you're not a Jew. So that means I'm not a Jew, you're not a Jew, and they're not either, but that's not what it is. Paul was an apostle to the Gentiles. Okay? Romans, Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Thessalonians, they all go back to these sons of Japheth. Simple as that. Cross check. Okay? When these people came into the truth, beginning with Cornelius, all the way on down, were there Ethiopians that were part of the truth? Huh? Were there Egyptians that were part of the truth?
Yeah.
Were there Syrians that were part of the truth? The Hamitic and Shemitic nations had all known of YAH. And there were people in those nations. Shoot, there were even some Canaanites that was part of Israel. All you gotta do is read
David.
David.
Yeah, the Canaanite was with David.
Oh, David had a lot of David had a lot of them big Canaanite men that was part of his army. The three mighties are what they call a lot of David was.
His best friends was like Canaanite.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly.
I feel what you're saying.
Right. The Gibeonites in the book of Joshua, they were Canaanites. And they end up being like, hey, we ain't going out like our brothers. They taking them out. Man, we're gonna put on some old clothes, have some old bottles, and we're gonna come and be like, look, we came from a far place. And see what people here's the thing that people don't get. This is the thing that people don't get. If these Gibeonites had truly come from a far place, meaning they were not Israelites, Yahshua would have had no problem being like, oh yeah, come on. They say we come for the name of Yah, we are come. No, that's what originally got him. But the thing is, he found out in a few days that they like, y'all, these people here, we in y'all crib. Y'all talking about y'all come from a far place.
You got y'all blessings now, look, we in there.
That's right. The Father would not let them go back on their word. The Father, a vow is more important to the Father than anything else. Straight up. We got a whole lesson on that. But they had to honor the vow. And here's a false teaching that people have. They say, oh, yeah, they let them have it in there, but then they made them slaves in Israel. They didn't make them Gibeonite slaves. They gave them a particular job to do. You're going to be bearers of wood, bearers of water. Ain't nobody mistreating you. Ain't nobody cussing at you. Ain't nobody beating you or nothing like that. That's going to be your position as y'all are part of Israel. And that was it. And then, when Saul became king, the first king, Saul was, he was like these Israelites, crazy. Like, they have a zeal, but not according to the Father. Saul looked and saw them Gibeonites. He's like, you know what? I'm about to kill all these Gibeonites. And he made a move to try to kill all the Gibeonites. I think he was doing something for the Father. Then when he ended up dying, David became king, and the Gibeonites that survived say, look, David, your boy was tripping. He tried to take us out, man. What you gonna do for us? David ended up killing, if I'm not mistaken, it was some of Saul's seed because of what he did to the Gibeonites. It's deep. Because David understood, you know, when you become under this umbrella of the Father of YAH, regardless of what your ethnicity is, you are now this. You don't change your ethnicity. You can't change your ethnicity, your bloodline, but you have now become part of this nation. You know, you got a sister in the scriptures. She got a whole book in the scriptures. She ain't even an Israelite. Huh? She ain't no Israelite. She ain't no Israelite ethnically. What was she ethnically? A Moabite. Right? She was a Moabite, right? I love that. And when she decided to leave with her mother-in-law, who was an Israelite, what was her name? Naomi.
Yeah. I was going to say Denise. Just kidding.
I'm glad you didn't.
Right.
But you did anyway.
Glenn's mom.
I know. Oh, anyway. Right. Anyway, what she tell her mother-in-law? Because the other people, they say we stand in Moab. Right? The wives of Naomi's sons that were killed or that died, they stayed in Moab. She said, I'm joining you. Your people are my people, and your Elohim are my Elohim. So she rejected her culture of being a Moabite, and she joined herself to Israel. And she eventually married an Israelite. Matter of fact, she's one of the ancestors of Yahshua.
Right? She married Boaz.
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of the ancestors of Yahshua when you look at his genealogy. Okay? But anyway, I went to say that because my point was in Genesis the 12th chapter, just to show the same dynamic, that you have to read it from historical dynamic. You can't read and just group the whole Bible together like, no, this is a specific period in a specific time. All right? So let's look at that real quick. Genesis the 12th chapter.
Okay.
Genesis the 12th chapter. And keep in mind again, ain't no Israelite, ain't no Jew, but there's a Hebrew, because in the 10th chapter, it let us know that there was an Eber, who is the father of the Hebrews. Right? So 12th chapter and verse 1.
Now Yahuwah had said unto Abraham, Get thee out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto a land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless you, and curse him that curses you. And in you shall all families of the earth be blessed.
Wow. That is the first word that the Father's given to this man who he found grace in. Okay? He said, I'm going to bless you, but it ain't all about just blessing you and bless this great nation that's going to come out of you. He said, and in these shall all families of the earth be blessed. That's the establishment of the priesthood right here. You the one that's going to be blessed. I'm blessing you. And your family is going to be blessed, and your seed in this great nation that's going to come out of you is going to be blessed. And their job is going to be a blessing to all the nations on the face of the earth. Okay, so from there, let's go on to Exodus the 19th chapter. As a matter of fact, no, it's not actually. Yeah, but it's still a Selah moment. Why is it Selah? Because we here to talk about a chosen people, but we don't know what we're chosen to do, what we're chosen to be. Abraham, he was chosen here, but then he had a job even as he was chosen. To do what? To be a blessing to all the nations on the face of the earth. Okay? Exodus, I say 19. So if every Israelite understood the role that we were to play in terms of being a light, like Yahshua said, you are the light of the world. The light of the world don't mean you bragging because you the light of the world. He says, let your light so shine that men may see your good works. That the world will be drawn to you. They're drawn to me. They're drawn to the Father through you, the light of the world. But Exodus 19th chapter says, I'm going to jump down to the 4th verse.
Exodus 19:4.
Uh-huh.
Ye have seen what I did unto the Mizraim, and how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation.
Now here's another observation. Just like in Genesis the 10th chapter, the Father was still not dealing with some religious denomination, some church or whatever. He's still dealing with a nation. A nation. So when we keep these laws and statutes, we're keeping a culture. We're keeping a covenant. We're not following a religion. Religion is what the heathens did when they took what pertained to us and made religions out of it. We're not following a religion. We're following a culture. Like every other nation, nations have cultures. They have their traditions. And most of the traditions of nations are based off of their worship of their deity.
As Kevin would say, that's right.
Right. You know, like somebody say, man, I'm not really religious. I'm not religious, but I just love everything about Christmas. I'm not religious. Put on the red stocking cap. They setting up the Christmas tree. I'm not religious, though. You're not religious, but what you're doing is from a religious tradition based off the way that these people worship their God. So despite what you're saying out of your mouth, you're doing contrary, right? And all the religions come from a culture. And what we do is part of the culture, or at Jeremiah 17, which we're going to read in a minute, the heritage that he gave to a nation of people. Okay? But anyway, he says, what verse you leave off at?
6 in the middle.
Okay, so yeah, so start at the top of 6 again.
And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a Kodesh nation. These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel.
He said you're going to be a kingdom of priests. Priests. By definition, what is a priest?
A teacher.
Huh?
A teacher. A teacher of laws.
That's true. But a priest, by definition, really is one that is a mediator between the Father and man.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was thinking the word elite.
Right.
I was thinking
Huh? No, but it's talking priests as a whole.
yeah.
Okay? Because he said that when other nations hear this law, they're gonna come for the law. Because this law, that's Deuteronomy 4th chapter, right? So it's the nation that the people are looking at, which is why I did the lesson 2 months ago, is why people can't see Yah now. They can't see Yah because he has hid his face from a nation. The Father didn't choose another people to be his priest. He didn't choose another religious organization to be his priest. He's still dealing with Israel. He still gave Israel the priesthood even though we were cast out. Yashrael and Yahudah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just thinking that it's the same way as in Revelation, where they say that the that you cannot come into the kingdom unless you come through, through the nation. So
that's correct.
Yeah. So like you're saying,
that's
the priest
correct.
and 12 tribes have to come through.
Love it. And the crazy part about it ain't changed from Old Testament to quote unquote New Testament. It has never changed.
Right.
It's even Paul said the exact same thing. Paul is the one you be like, hey, what did he say that? Let me let you know. Man, so what advantage is there of a Jew, Israelites? What advantage, Ask anybody in church, there ain't no advantage. If I'm dealing with no Israelite no more. That wasn't what Paul said. Paul said chiefly much in every way. And he's speaking after Yahshua died and sitting on the right hand of the Father. Ain't no more dispensations after that. So what done changed between time Paul made that statement and now? 2022, what done happened in between that time? But that's the whole SELAH thing, y'all. We are a priest nation. Because the Father don't want his creation to die. He don't want his whole creation. He said, I take no joy over the death of the wicked. He don't. But rather that they will repent. Anyway, moving right along. Now let's get back to this. Selah moment. Isaiah 28 chapters. Isaiah the 28th chapter. I should have a big poster with this passage on it. Matter of fact, we just read this last week, I think. Isaiah 28th chapter. Isaiah the 28th chapter.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. Somebody else can do that.
Isaiah 28.
Yeah, Isaiah 28th chapter and verse 9. We're going to start this off at the 9th verse. Isaiah 28 and verse 9.
Okay. Hallelujah. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
That's a question that he's asking, and it's not a hard question to understand. He says, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Now, the average person might think, okay, he's about to call on a name, call somebody name, call on a group of people name, call somebody name, whatever. But whatever answer that he gives is the answer that we want to be a part of. Huh? Because he's like, who's chosen? Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Because there's a lot of doctrines out here in the world today. Go ahead.
Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
Right. So we went over this last week, but again, what does he mean by being weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast?
Sure.
Huh?
Matured in all the laws.
Right. He gives you an imagery of a babe.
I was going to say purity.
And that's a good point. There is purity in it, and it is pure. Being a child. Because a child is instinctively wired to want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
Willing to learn.
Willing to learn. They don't even realize that that's what's going on. We sit and watch them, we sit and listen to them, but they are doing it just like when they're eating, but they're still walking around trying to learn what's going on. Trying to,
Ain't missing a thing.
Right. Trying to communicate better to their parents and their siblings by vocalizing certain things, right? But it's an entire learning process that they're doing. That child ain't walking around like, oh, I already know this. I know. I ain't trying to learn nothing. No, their learning in itself is a pure dynamic. And that is the answer to his question. If you have a pure dynamic to learning, then that is who shall teach knowledge and who we're going to make to understand doctrine. I can't stand up here and be like, oh, I know everything, so can't nobody teach me nothing else. I'm good. Oh, I'm not fitting this criteria right here. Because he says that they are weaned from milk and drawn from the breast. Verse 10.
For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
Right. This is the reason why the average person don't have the wherewithal to sit here for 2 hours reading line upon line, precept upon precept.
SELAH.
Selah. The average person would love for somebody to stand up here and just be making jokes all the time, or say something philosophical that be like, man, oh man, you deep with that philosophical concerning that, because that's what Christianity is basically is. It's philosophical.
And entertainment.
Entertaining, that's right. You get somebody like a T.D. Jakes to give you all these jewels of healthy living, not healthy living, because he ain't healthy, but you know what I mean, just jewels of, stuff may sound good, but it's not necessarily the word of the Most High. That's the reason why we have to consistently let the scriptures teach. But if you're not reading it, you're not learning from it. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Here a little with there a little. Go ahead.
For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people.
Whoa, wait a minute. I heard some Hebrew tell me the other day that unless you know Hebrew, you don't know these scriptures.
I hope you kick the dust off your feet.
Oh, I didn't have to kick the dust off. All I had to do was open up the scripture line upon line, precept upon precept. He said, with stammering lips and another tongue will he is the one that know how to speak Hebrew. He know how to speak Aramaic. He know how to speak Arabic, Greek, Russian, whatever language he know how to speak it. But he said to this people, he would speak to this people with stammering lips and another tongue when he speaks to his people. Because he knew that we would not be speaking the language that was part of our heritage. He already called it right there, So that's so and again on a whole different note, y'all know where I'm going with this. I get 3 Hebrew speakers, Hebrew readers, to read any passage in the scriptures, and they'll come up with 3 different three different interpretations of that scripture. And they all say they speak Hebrew. And most times, all 3 of them were more than likely being correct. Why is that? Help me out. Why is that?
Because words have various meanings.
Huh?
Words have various meanings.
Right. They don't understand this. In the Hebrew language, just about every Hebrew word has multiple meanings. We knew a particular brother that when he would give a lesson, he would give you the word in Hebrew, and he'd pick the least common, the least common definition.
You can always go to the third.
Right, to say that's what the pastor's talking about. It's good because it makes him look smarter by doing that. Everybody else thinks talking about this, but we talk about that. It'd be so far from what the pastor means. But in the English language, and I'm not exalting the English language, I'm just making a statement that a whole lot of words can mean the same thing. One thing. I say large. Y'all know what large is. Big. Y'all know, huh? Big.
Tall.
Humongous.
Obese.
Right. They all they're very specific in its meaning. So you ain't gonna hear big and be like, oh, that don't mean big. Oh, you mean big. You know what I mean? It's big. So there are a lot of words in the English language, and they all have very specific definitions, unlike the Hebrew, where one word can have 5 different meanings.
Just like shalom.
Huh?
The word shalom.
Correct. One of my favorite examples of this, and this is my favorite example because most people that read the Bible, I'm telling you, y'all heard this right here. Y'all ain't heard this from nowhere else. Cause I've been looking. I ain't seen nobody else teach this.
I'm gonna look.
Huh?
I'm kidding.
No, you can't.
I'm back.
Cause a few years ago I had a debate with a brother that swear he know Hebrew real good. I ain't gonna call out his name. But I was watching one of his broadcasts. It was the Day of Atonement, I think. And he read in Leviticus 23rd chapter, and he read the passage concerning Passover. And then whatever word he was reading says, and on the 14th day at evening, you shall keep the Passover. I'm like, bro, right. I say, it's not evening. 14th day at evening is incorrect. It should be 14th day at even. In the English, that's correct. He said, bro, but in the Hebrew, the word given is erev. E-R-E-B. Erev. Now, years ago, I was in Indianapolis, and I was having the same conversation with a brother. He was a Moray. You know what I'm talking about? My cousin's.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. And we had the same conversation. He said, bro, that's Erev right there. Erev is evening. I say, yeah, but if you look up the word even, it goes back to Erev too. Yeah, because they're the same word, bro. No, they're not the same word. They're not the same word. Because it said 14th day at even. Even is a specific part of the day, which is the
Going down of the sun.
Thank you. It's the going down of the sun. It means the sun is not down, but it's going down. That's even. Right. Oh, and another somebody else will say, oh, you mean between the evenings? No, ain't no such thing as between the evenings.
How is it 2 evenings?
But look, that's a scholarly thing that they say. You heard that before, right?
Yes.
Right, between the evenings. Ain't no between.
I would say between the day and evening.
Well, that's
Yeah.
more accurate.
Yeah.
So anyway, and how I do it is that, like I say, I don't need a language to understand it. When in the same 23rd chapter of Leviticus, it says the 10th day is the Day of Atonement. And you shall keep this fast from the 9th day at even. And that's how I learned it. When I saw 9th day, I'm like, why is it saying 9th day when I know the Day of Atonement is the 10th day? That's the key word. That is the key word, even. Meaning I'm beginning to keep it at the going down of the sun on the 9th day. Because evening, by definition, is the beginning of the day, which is darkness. Evening and morning, the first day. Not even and morning. Ain't no book or version gonna say even and morning, because that don't make sense. Even is the end of the day. Evening is the beginning of the day, the darkness. So if you say 14th day at evening, you're talking about the beginning of the 14th day. And that's not when Passover is. It's at the end of the 14th day, as it's began to be the 15th day at darkness. So when you go into the 12th chapter, the passage does, you can see, he said, look, on the 14th day at even, the end of the 14th day, you have your staff in your hand, your loins girded. You're not even probably going to sleep, the bed, because at midnight, y'all going to be up out of here. And when they was up out of here, what day did they leave? The 15th day. The 14th, see, the 14th was over with. See what I'm saying? We left on the 15th day, but we begin our observance on the 14th day at sunset, at the going down of the sun. And you got some Israelites to this day that would keep Passover on one day, then they'll leave and come back the next day, 24 hours later, say, okay, this is the first day of unleavened bread. The first day of unleavened bread began on the 14th at even, but when the day came, it was the 15th. That's why it's called the first day of unleavened bread. But it was the same time that they're keeping this observance. Just like if you gave a name for atonement on the ninth day of even, it'll be a separate name, but you're keeping it the whole 24 hours until the sun sets on the 10th day.
Yeah.
Was any of this confusing? Was any of this confusing? Okay, good.
So when you say evening means the end of the day,
Yes.
that's basically what we know as night.
Night, darkness, ain't no light to be seen. But even is the going down of the sun. Let me give a scripture. I'm glad he asked that. I love that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 16, I believe.
Yeah.
Where was we just at?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Y'all line upon line, precept upon precept. That's how you get knowledge. So we're gonna do the same thing with this right here. Deuteronomy 16th chapter. Okay. Deuteronomy 16th chapter. Let me go directly to the point. Pick it up at the 4th verse. Deuteronomy the 16th chapter and the 4th verse.
16 and 4.
Uh-huh.
And there shall be no leavened bread.
Are you reading out of the KJV?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And there shall be no leavened bread seen with you in all your coasts 7 days. Neither shall there anything of flesh which you sacrifice the day at even remain all night until the morning.
Whoa! He said even right there that you sacrifice at even the end of the day. By the time morning comes, that's when the light comes up.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even have no more of that Passover available. You better have eaten it all up. It should not even exist by the time the sun comes up. But you sacrifice it at even the end of the 14th day, which is Passover.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Go ahead.
You may not sacrifice the Passover within any of your gates, which Yahuwah your Elohim give you, but at the place which Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose to place his name in, there you shall sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun.
There you go. At even, then he give you the definition, the going down of the sun. It ain't sundown, it's the going. Going means it's a process that's happening. The going down of the sun. That's what even is. Let me go somewhere else real quick. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Okay. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. See, and this is the thing that confuses people right here because they don't understand how it's read. They get confused about it. You don't have to do that. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that because you're slowing me down. If somebody else can do that, put the scripture in there. Okay, well, they got to do it themselves. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. And see, look what it says here. It says, go direct to the point, verse 5.
Verse 5. Okay. In the 14th day of the first month at even is Yahuwah's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahuwah. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have an holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
Okay, so stop. Notice he didn't say 15th day at even. He said 14th day at even. He said then on the 15th day, you shall have the Feast of Unleavened Bread. See, when you read that, it sounds like it's two different observations, but it's really just one. So if I ask somebody, when is the first day of unleavened bread, what's the answer?
It should be the 14th before the going down.
No.
Oh, the first, no, 15th.
Right,
It's
because the
15th,
scripture said
right.
the 15th day
Right.
is the first day of unleavened bread.
Mhm.
We got that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now go to Exodus the 12th chapter.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right.
No, I see where.
Right. Okay. Exodus the 12th chapter.
Okay.
Pick it up. Let's go directly to the point. Pick it up at verse 17.
And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Mizraim. Therefore shall you observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, you shall eat unleavened bread.
Whoa, you begin to eat it on the 14th day at even, because that's the end of that day. That day don't really count because you're beginning to do it at the even, the going down of the sun. But the 15th day, when the sun come up, that's really considered the first day of unleavened bread. The 14th ain't considered the first day. Just like the 9th day ain't considered of the 7th month ain't considered the Day of Atonement. But it tells us to begin our fast on the when? 9th day of at even of the 7th month. That's back in the Leviticus 23rd chapter, okay? But anyway, that's just the short end of it.
So it's almost like, it's like once you get into the truth, you have to start to retrain your mind when the day starts and
Right.
when the day begins.
Uh-huh.
So it will come, like even like when I take days off, I know that I work during the day.
Right.
So I know that I'm going to take that day off. So
Mhm.
if you work during the night, you're going to take off the evening, you know what I mean?
Right.
The day before, so you won't be working
That
when
day,
they're going
right.
down the sun.
Correct.
So you have to train your mind when the
Correct.
day starts, so
Mhm.
you know that you will not be doing any service
Yeah.
work during that day.
Right.
So I just, so for clarification, so is the feast, is the Lord's Passover and the Feast of Unleavened like within the same 24 hours?
Right. And as a matter of fact, to be honest, it ain't even 24 hours. It's really technically 12 hours because it begins, just say around that time of year, right? Sun sets at about, is it
I think that time, I think it's around 7.
Right, about
That's
7.
later.
Because remember, daylight saving
7:15
time kicks in on March around my birthday, March 9th. But daylight saving time kicks in. So right, so sun is set around say 7 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just think about it like this: if you're doing at even at about 7 o'clock that even, and let's say we were back in the Holy Land right here in Exodus 12th chapter. Just say it's about 7 o'clock daytime when they killed the Passover, and he says, keep your shoes on your feet, your loins girded.
Yep.
So this is the start of the period at even on the 14th day. And then by midnight, or I'm going to even say by the time that sun came up, they were gone. That was the 15th day. So that's the reason why I'm saying we talk about really a 12-hour period. If you say from 7 o'clock that even to 7 o'clock that morning, that was the observance right there. You understand what I'm saying? But that's so, you can say 24 hours, but I'm being technical with it, that it was from the time they killed the Passover, stayed up all night as that death angel, whatever, is going around killing the firstborn, and they in there praying and going through that, but they ain't nobody got on no pajamas. And nobody got on no night clothes. They were dressed. From the time they were eating that lamb, they were dressed to get up out of there. They were about to leave. So that's, like you say, understanding time frame. Now, check it out on a real another note, though. The heathens, before we came up with 12 a.m. is the new day, midnight, what does 12 a.m. look like?
Dark.
It pretty much looked like the way it looked at 9 o'clock p.m., right? It pretty much look the same way. It's gonna look at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever, right? But they didn't always have that though. When we say, like right now, it's Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve begins at the going down of the sun. That's correct. December 24th at even. And guess what other holiday does that? Halloween.
Yeah.
Because the actual day of observance is November 1st. All Hallows Day, right. Bob said All Saints Day, but it begins, like you say, All Hallows Eve. December 31st at the going down of the sun.
As soon as that happened, they running out.
That's right, at the going down of the sun. So they understood the dynamic of even, which is the going down of the sun of the previous day. And then when the going down of the sun up, then that's it's Christmas. Okay? So I'm just showing how, you can see little things like that.
I think the image
at 12 o'clock.
Huh?
I think the images from movies.
Well, yeah, see, what they do is they make the big deal about the morning when the kids come down and bow before the tree.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Passover part. When you look at even the Prince of Egypt, I think they had them leaving during the daylight, but technically it was night. It was a full moon, so they had the moonlight that guide them up out of there.
Oh, that's another good point. How about that?
It was a full moon.
How about that? Passover is always a full moon.
Right. Yeah.
You got some people right now talking about, man, the new moon is really the full moon is the new moon.
What?
You never heard that? Oh yeah, you got some people. You ever heard it?
Yes, the lunar. Yeah, they
the full
teach the
moon is
full
the new.
moon.
How you got the full moon looks the same way 3 days in a row? You can't even see it look different.
Yeah.
But at least with a new moon, you know that there wasn't no moon. Ain't no moon because the moon ain't came up yet. But when that first sliver shows up, you know that that's brand new, just like a little baby, brand new. Huh? So you mean tell me that the new moon is a full moon, and then 14 days from that, there ain't no moon for 3 days. And then you see the sliver come up, that's the same moon it was before. Make it make sense, right? You 3 days without a moon, and then you see a little sliver, but it's the same moon. That don't even matter, but people are following that. People are following that.
What did you say? If you SELAH enough,
Yes.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's what the two
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I love that point that you made. Absolutely. Tabernacles is the middle of the month. Full moon up in the sky. Passover, middle of the month. Full moon up in the sky, and you are absolutely correct. Our people came out under that full moon.
Hallelujah.
Well then, hallelujah, indeed. Anyway, moving right along, y'all. Let's go to John 5th chapter. Let's see what SELAH moment we can get out of John 5th chapter. John 5th chapter. Pick us up at the 43rd verse.
I came in my Father's name. I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive.
Now, I'm going to dispel a false doctrine people have, which is actually a doctrine that sounds good to me, but it's not really the truth. See, the son's name was Yahshua because he came in his father's name. His father's name is Yah. So guess what? That's not really a correct doctrine. To link Yahshua to Yah because the names are similar. Some people use that. But his name could have been George. And if he come in his father's name, that's the name he come in. Meaning that he ain't come in his own name, George. I come in my father's name. all the apostles, prophets, when they spoke, he didn't come in Ezekiel's name. He came in the name of Yah. Y'all, did that make sense?
Yeah.
But we kind of stretch the understanding and say, well, his name couldn't be Jesus, which it wasn't, and we use that as a, and I usually just be, okay, well, whatever, but that's not really what it means. Like the Ruach, the Holy Spirit, when we talk about the Comforter may have a different name, but he said when he comes, he's coming in my name, meaning that he's not coming in his own name. So that's all what Yahshua was saying.
What basically in the power of the Father.
That's right.
Like
Power, representation, or whatever. It ain't me speaking.
I'm the ambassador of the
Right, that's right. That's right. The words that come out of my mouth are the Father's. They're not mine. Like the same Yahshua right here when he says, hey, I don't come to do my will, I came to do my Father's will.
Which was a proper salutation at that time.
Huh?
It was a proper salutation.
Right, right, okay. But he says, I am come in my Father's name. Did you read that? And you receive me not.
Mm-hmm.
If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. And that's kind of remind you of like these false pastors that's out here. When you hear T.D. Jakes and he say something that sound all nice and eloquent, but you can't read it out the scriptures, who words are you speaking? His own words. Same thing with every last one of them. Right. Well, but they're not speaking of Father. They ain't come in the Father's name because he ain't said no such thing.
They're just motivational speakers.
That's right. That's right. Motivational speakers. They all should be like my man. What's Les Brown? Y'all remember Les Brown?
Yeah.
They should be like him. He ain't never claimed to be no preacher. He just got up there, drew the same people, made his money, and dealt with the people without no titles. And he did what they said is no different than what he said. Right. Les Brown and T.D. Jakes, you wouldn't tell the difference between the two. It ain't because we all look alike. That ain't what I'm saying. Anyway, go ahead, finish that.
Verse 44. How can you believe which receive honor one of another and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only?
Right.
Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuses you, even Shemaiah, in whom you trust.
And we call him Shemaiah because that is his original name. Moses was his original name. Shemaiah is his original name until 3 months when his Egyptian mother, 3 months, gave him the name Moses. That's another lesson, huh?
Where did Moshe come?
Huh? This is his mother.
Okay, Moshe is
their surname.
His Egyptian mother.
Okay, Moshe is the Egyptian name.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we're talking water, a river.
Now, in the scriptures, it simply says that it means drawn from the water. Okay. But it's really deeper than that, though.
Oh, okay.
You should elaborate just because it's a SELAH moment and it's sharing the truth.
In the Egyptian culture or Mizraimite culture, we like to use the original names because Egypt comes from Greek. Anyway, they had what they call the god of the Nile. First of all, whoever was Pharaoh was God. Just like in Prince of Egypt, I am the sun and the moon, morning star, or whatever it says, right? They worship them as deities. Moses was a common name of pharaohs. Huh? Moses and other Moses. So the name that she gave him was a name that was honoring her father and other. So that's what that. And so that's what his name was Moses. So when they drew him out the water, that means that the now God gave us this king that would come up and rule over the land. It's a whole deep thing to it. It ain't just simply I drew him out the water. It was more, you got to understand it from the culture of Mizraim. But that's where that term Moses comes from. Look up how many pharaohs had that name Moses. So that's what that is. But in the book of Jasher, it finds out that the people called him Shemaiah. And Shemaiah, by interpretation, means what? Hear Yah. Yah hears. Hear, O Yah. Shemaiah, which is so fitting of of the lawgiver. See? But anyway, I don't have no position when people call him Moses, because historically that was the name that he was given. It ain't like Jesus. It was actually the name he was given. But the people called him Shemaiah, according to what we read, because that's what he was named from birth.
SELAH.
Yeah, it's Selah. It's another Selah moment. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So basically, they when he led the people out of Egypt, they were referring to him as what did he say?
Shemaiah. That's what the book of Jasher said, that the people called him Shemaiah. That's where that come from. Yep. And there are other sources that also share the same thing. I'm gonna tell you something.
Does Josephus say something?
I don't know if it's in I know it's in Jasher. I'm not sure if it's in Josephus. I can't remember if it's in Josephus. But speaking of which, though, y'all want to maybe get into something else. Cecil DeMille. You know who Cecil DeMille is? He did the movie The Ten Commandments. The one with Charlton Heston.
How old is that?
It came out in 50.
Wow.
How old's Josiah?
Girl, stop it.
Somebody walked in this class, ain't gonna walk out. This is the second time I said it too, but anyway, that dude, the one with Charlton Heston played Moses or whatever.
Yeah.
Cecil DeMille had a lot of understanding, y'all. He had more understanding than we could possibly imagine. So he knew all the stuff that we're talking about. He knew it all. Seriously. He just did. Man, when if you look up, if you Google Moses Egyptian wife, just Google it. Moses Egyptian wife, you're going to come up with a picture of the Ethiopian that was in the movie. And her name was Tharvis. He knew that was his actual wife in the movie. You might not remember the scene in the Ten Commandments, but there's an Ethiopian court that comes visit the Pharaoh, and she started bragging on Moses. Oh, you are so wise and gracious, whatever. She gives him a necklace, whatever. And Nefertiti is looking at her like, man, like, what's up? And she calls her beautiful too, as a matter of fact, in the scene. But Cecil DeMille knew who that was actually Moses' wife in real life, but he didn't put that in the movie though, but he put her in the movie. So that dude, and even when he starts off, he's talking in the beginning of the movie, in a prologue, and he's a prelogue or whatever, and he say, and we're checking sources out of the book of Philo, Josephus, and other stuff. So he didn't just put just a movie without some understanding. This dude really had understanding when he put that movie out, though. But anyway, that's a whole nother lesson. What you laughing at?
No, I was just, when I look at the movie, I just see that everybody had a nice tan.
True that. That's true. That's true. Wasn't you a brother boy? You was killing them with Ramsey's Jack. But you absolutely right. You absolutely had a very nice tan.
It was spray tan.
They shook, man, all of them did.
Spray tan.
But anyway, where we at?
I'll read verse 45 again.
Verse 45.
Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuses you, even Shemaiah, in whom you trust. For had you believed Shemaiah, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words?
Selah. We try to throw away the entire Old Testament or the book of the law and think we can praise Jesus. He's on our side. But he's saying here, if you don't believe what's written in the law, you cannot possibly believe me. You cannot possibly believe anything that I have to say because you don't believe the one that came before me. It's impossible. You can't believe in the Messiah and not keep the laws and statutes, is what he's saying too. is impossible. Virtually impossible. So I call that another Selah moment. Okay.
Before we continue,
Uh-huh.
on 45 again, say, do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuse you. We're talking about even Shemaiah. Is that saying that the Shemaiah law or teaching, that he gave down is what's actually going to accuse
That's
us?
right. And see, and the thing is, when you understand the concept that he's talking to people that claim to believe in the law. See, that's the whole focus. They claim to believe in the law. So you might not believe me, Yahshua. You might not believe that I am who I am. It's fine. Don't think that I'm going to be the one to accuse you is what he's saying. Don't even trip on me. Because I'm not the one that's going to accuse you. The one who you claim to believe is the one that's going to accuse you. That's basically what he's saying. Okay? But at the same token, we can say the same thing for so-called Christians as well. Because you still y'all want to throw away Shemaiah. Yahshua is a contrast to Shemaiah. You know how to keep.
What's that term?
Tell me, how did that work?
He was the forerunner.
When they teaching the same thing,
I don't know.
same.
I don't understand it.
Oh, see,
The shadow.
we can do a whole nother lesson on what did Yahshua really say, and that was just like people wouldn't be ready for that.
No.
Because they
That'd be good.
yeah, right. They have a mindset of what they think the Messiah is.
The only thing they said on this, Jesus died for my sins.
That's right. That's right.
I just love him, and he's my king.
Right.
But you don't keep his commandments.
But they throw this other thing in that thing too. He paid it all.
Right.
Oh.
Jesus paid
See, that's what you can't read you can't read that in the writings. He paid it all.
Show me that in the scripture.
That's right. See, they add something to him dying for the sins of the people. All right, real quick, Leviticus 11 chapter. This is Leviticus 11 chapter.
This is a culture thing, not a religion.
Mm-hmm. Leviticus 11 chapter. We're not even going to go through this whole chapter period. We know that this is what I call the sanctified diet chapter, right? So I want you to pick this up. Pick this up at the 43rd verse.
Leviticus 11:43. Hallelujah. Ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creeps, neither shall ye make yourselves unclean with them, that ye should be defiled thereby. For I am Yahuwah your Elohim, and ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy or kodesh, for I am kodesh. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creeps upon the earth.
Now, the Father is clear concerning being defiled by what he called abominable things that exist on the earth that he commanded that you shall not eat, okay? Okay? So again, people that claim they're under the New Testament, they say, well, bro, we ain't under that no more. We ain't under that no more. Let's go on to 1 Corinthians.
You done with that?
Yeah, I'm done with that. I just want to make the point that the Father has a sanctified diet.
Selah.
Right, Selah. Man, we are so messed up. No, I mean, and the truth of the matter is, everything that you put in your mouth, it's either gonna heal you or kill you. But we don't come from a culture that understands that. We think that everything that tastes good, we can eat. You can put barbecue sauce on just about anything. We the Asians do it all the time, Jack.
Or
Man.
curry.
Roadkill. I just leave it like that.
Maybe having different types of barbecue too.
Huh? Hey, you know what? And believe me, back in the day before I was keeping the sanctified diversified diet. Man, look, as much as I love, I didn't eat shrimp. Like I ate, but even chicken fried rice. But was it chicken? But it tasted good, though. It was fine to me. I remember when at the time when Bobby Brown and them, when they were living up in Alpharetta, Georgia, there was a Chinese spot up there, boy. They was cutting them rats all day long, serving the people that. That was all in the news and everything.
There was some news in Chicago too, but it wasn't rats, it was cats.
Cats, yeah.
Same thing as that.
Yeah.
A lot of cats.
It's cat.
Anybody ever heard of cat fried rice? It ain't on nobody's menu.
You know what? Check move. It's this restaurant on Argyle Forest. It's a Chinese restaurant.
Oh.
They got cats all around there at night. So it's like, are they breeding those cats and skinning them and cooking them and feeding them to
You're
the
talking about the
people?
one when you first turn on Argyle and it's on the right.
Yeah, where the mobile or Exxon gas station.
Oh, I know where that is.
Where you come off from Blenheim, you go into Younger Miss Circle.
Yeah.
You come right there around there, and you got the plaza right.
Yeah, in there.
Yup.
Yeah.
I taste like.
Nah, homie, that ain't me.
They really sell that?
Real no.
Cat-
No, he was just asking. He don't really know, but
No,
it's.
I'm saying cat fried rice.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
they ain't gonna call it cat. To you, it's chicken fried. To you, it's chicken fried rice.
Right.
But they had this investigation on the news, and then they said that some of them were shipping it in from their country, and it was cat. It wasn't really chicken.
Oh.
It was kind of bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so let me find this passage. I had it. I said 1 Corinthians the third. I think it's third chapter. I believe. Yeah, 1 Corinthians third chapter. 1 Corinthians the third chapter. And pick this up at the 16th verse.
1 Corinthians 3 and 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of Elohim, and that the spirit of YAH dwells in you? If any man defile the temple of Elohim, him shall Elohim destroy. For the temple of Elohim is Kodesh, which temple you are.
Man, do we need a private interpretation for what Paul was saying right here? Because the file didn't change its definition. The Father is just like the Father say was holy or Kodesh. Only the Father can tell us that. Can't no man tell you that. If the Father tell you that the Shabbat is holy or Kodesh, then that's what it is. Can't no man tell you otherwise. Even Yahshua didn't have the authority to change what the Father had commanded. No authority whatsoever to do that. He had the authority to magnify the law, as it says in Isaiah 42nd chapter. I will magnify the law and make it honorable. But you can't diminish the law. Matter of fact, Yahshua said out of his own mouth in Matthew, no, I don't even have this in here. Matthew 5th chapter. He said, who shall therefore shall you know what? Let's go and read that because I want y'all to
You want
look
me to hold our
at. No, that's fine. We understand that, right?
Right.
That the Father will destroy those who defile their temple.
Right.
Paul didn't give you no definition. That's one bill I'm gonna have to pay. Anyway,
Matthew 5.
16, 17.
I would have paid it, but since y'all bothered me on Shabbat, you get Nathan. No, let me see.
Matthew 5.
Yeah, Matthew 5th chapter, and start this off at the
16,
at the 17th.
17.
Did you say 16?
I say 6, but start off at 16, but the point is 17, 18.
Okay.
You guys said earlier, let your light so shine.
I did read that earlier, didn't I? So
You said
yeah,
it earlier.
let's start off there at the 16th verse. I sure did mention that.
Hallelujah. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
Despite what some people tell you, that they done got all this twisted. Men, brother, men mean Israelite men.
That's right.
They do that on a whole lot of places, man. See, they ain't talking about it. No, it means everybody. Everybody. Matter of fact, man. Because he says in the 14th verse, ye are the light of the world. So if you are the light don't need to edify the light. The light is the light. The light has to shine on darkness that they can be lit up. If that makes sense. Okay? So he said that let your light shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Okay? 17.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill or perform.
To perform, right. Not to bring it to an end, but to do exactly what the law says. I am come to fulfill it.
And that is,
Oh, I thought you were about to say something deep.
no. I'm talking about what fulfilled. No, because some people would use that like, well, see, he fulfilled all the law once he died on the cross. But no, that fulfillment actually is in Acts. I was just trying to see if I knew the corresponding verse for that. Was saying that he fulfilled everything. I was saying Paul saying the sufferers.
Luke, that's Luke 24 and 40 something. What you're referring to. Yeah, but you're right. Fulfill everything that was written of him to do is what it says.
Right. They get that kind of construed with.
Right. That's correct. That's correct. But here he said, so don't think that I am come to destroy it or bring it to an end. I am not come to destroy it, but to fulfill. So in another way, you think about how every time you drive and you stop at a red light, you fulfill the law. Mm-hmm. And you don't just stop fulfilling the law. You continue to fulfill the law. Okay? Right. But you fulfill the law. I mean, you, like you say, perform the law. You did it. Okay? And notice the key word in this verse is law. Keep that in mind. Law. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 18. For truly I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
Now see, even though they get that 17th verse messed up, the 18th verse kind of bring it on in, right? So look, till heaven and earth pass, you gotta do all the law. So then you're going to have some smart, elegant Christian come up to you and say, what are they going to say?
That's what I'm talking about the first time.
Somebody tell me something they'd probably say. I ain't going to do that to y'all. Okay, right. But bro, what about sacrifices? When the last time you went to sacrifice an animal? Because he says not one jot or tittle should have no wise pass shall all be fulfilled. You still do sacrifices? Anybody ever been asked that question before? Nobody?
Not me.
Somebody?
I
I
see
my answer would be we're not in the land, so why
Let's see, but that's the key right there. People don't understand that there's two criteria that you have to meet to be able to sacrifice. That's right. We don't fit that criteria. Right.
Am I a son of Aaron?
Son of Aaron, high priest,
right?
And you're not in the land. Matter of fact, and you know what's funny about that? We just read that in Deuteronomy the 16th chapter. We just read that. You should not offer your sacrifices everywhere, but in a place where YAH shall choose to place his name. We just read that, and that's what he meant. Okay, so we don't fit the criteria. That don't mean that the law ended. It means that a lot of people say, well, see, we don't sacrifice because Yahshua came, and that's true. But you got to have more than just that to understand the dynamic. So I don't even tell people that. I tell people, look, bro, according to law, there's two criteria that must be met to be able to do sacrifice. sacrifices. And I don't fit neither one of them criteria. Simple as that. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they do. They try to throw you off some with some stupid stuff like that. But you have to know to understand how to deal with people that do that. So that would be the answer. Hey, it's the same thing when that's the same wisdom that Yahshua gave when they came to him and said, man, look, according to the law, you're supposed to stone this woman. Because she was caught in the very act of adultery. And it took them by surprise a little bit, and that's what it do. See, sometimes you just can't just blot out anything out your mouth. All the time you can't. Yeah. Sometimes if the Ruach don't give it to you, you just gonna have to just let it slide.
SELAH,
hold up. The verse says he stooped down on the ground as if he heard them knock. Absolutely. I don't hear y'all. Stooped down on the ground. But then the Ruach came on him. He stood up. Hey, I ain't kicking against the law. Y'all are absolutely correct. So any of y'all that is not worthy of this stone, go ahead and do your work. That's really what he said. If you're not worthy of that stone, go ahead and go ahead and fulfill the law. That was the wisdom. Because he didn't kick against what's written in the law.
Right.
But it was
But I like the way he did it,
to
though.
fulfill that.
Right.
But truth be told, though, but actually, according to law, it was a null and void case because the husband went there because the husband is the one who had
the man that she committed adultery. Yeah. See, that's the thing.
A lot of them didn't know the law.
Right, but see, that's the thing. A lot of people run to that and say that, but he didn't make that to be the point. That was to me, that was wisdom.
Right.
Yeah. He could have easily said, "Oh, why did y'all bring them in? Because the law said that's why."
Yeah, because they throwing law in his face.
But he gave them an answer that was way better.
Yeah, he did way better. Smooth.
Way better than that. Way better than that. Because if he would have gave him that, then someone said, "Oh, I know where he is." Ran into the bar, grabbed Jeremiah. Hey, bro, you gotta get this stone. But see, that wouldn't have taught them nothing. Yeah. He like, look, any of y'all here that is not worthy of this stone,
which is in the law as well.
But exactly. That's correct. Right. See, just as I'm not qualified to do a sacrifice, y'all not qualified to stone nobody either. Right. That's basically what he told them. But he didn't just tell them directly, y'all not qualified. He like, look, handed them the stone. If you're not worthy of that stone, then go ahead and do your thing. And they had to, in their own mind, think about it.
Think about what they did last night.
Man, look, you know what I did last night. You know what he did last night. And we all looking at each other and got our head down.
No, it was a big goal.
Your Satan looking at me like, he better not pick that stone. He better not pick that stone up, boy. He better leave that woman alone. It says from the greatest of them, when he walked away, they all followed suit and walked away. Because they all, hey, that's how that was. Yahshua, he threw down with that, but that was the wisdom. He did not do away with the law. He just let them know that y'all just not righteous enough to fulfill the law. Simple as that.
Because that was just nice, even when you think about it. Sometimes we have to learn that saying too much can be, you know what I mean, can be hurtful in the process.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to know when to just choose the right words or when to not say anything.
Yeah.
Because that can be powerful in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Cause you to stumble.
And it's amazing how even in Christianity they quote that whole story about what happened there, but then they don't, for some reason, they don't get to the end where he stood up and asked them, "Where your accusers at?" Right. He's like, "They are none." He said, "Okay, go and sin no more."
SELAH.
They do.
Huh?
They do.
But
I mean,
you have to know the law to be able to tell somebody. Right, that's the thing.
They tell the
right.
Story, but they don't know the
But
law.
see, that's the whole kicker right there. That he told that woman to go and sin no more. So he made intercession for that woman even before he became the intercessor.
Before he became propitiation.
Right, before he became the propitiation, before he became the intercessor, he became the intercessor for this woman that sinned and told her to go and sin no more. Now you go sin, I ain't gonna be around to save you because now you are sinning willfully. You done got this grace, because even in 1 Kings 8 chapter that we read that all the time, the dedication of Solomon, he said, "There's not a man that sin not." There's not a man that sin not. And as Israelites, man, sometimes we wear so much on our sleeve that we become so righteous, but it turns into self-righteousness.
Yeah.
It becomes self-righteousness. Like I tell y'all about the brother, man, I don't even see how these cats still be doing this Christmas thing or whatever. And I was like, bro, you crazy? You ain't never did Christmas? You ain't never had a Christmas tree in your house? You ain't never decorated that thing and put trees under it? No, don't have that mindset.
Right.
That's the reason why Yahshua came in the first place, in the form of sinful flesh. He came in this form of sinful flesh. You know, so that was the mercy of the Father. And to show us that we don't have to be sinners. Because see, that's the main thing about Christianity too. Man, look, man, we sin, we ain't perfect. He was perfect. No, he came to be our example.
That's an excuse.
Huh? Right. But they don't never tell us that. Oh, he did something that we can't do. No. And the reason why they think that, because they believe the false notion that he was born half God, half man. And he was not born half God, half man. If he was born half God, half man, then you're right. I can't do it. You gotta shit. You came from Krypton.
Right.
I can't twist no truck around the pole. But he didn't. He came. He was born of like passions, even as we are, through the seed of David.
Right.
Okay. Another Selah moment.
Yeah.
But we ain't gonna get too deep into that. Moving right along, y'all.
We done with
Fast.
We done with that?
Yeah, we done with that. Let's go on Ezekiel 22nd.
We didn't get to your favorite verse.
What was that?
Verse 20.
Verse
Let
20.
me read that. Verse 19.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know you too
I'm
well.
sorry. I'll be moved, man. I want to get all this out. I don't want to do no part two of this. Okay, 5 and go ahead.
Verse 5, verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach
Now stop for a second. This is the thing that most people don't notice. He's talking about the law. And then he's going to give you a thing with the commandments. Commandments and law is one of the same.
Yes.
People think they're different. They are not different. They are the same. The commandments are the law. And you can see that right here. Because he was talking about the law. Then he said, look, so therefore, whosoever shall break one of these least commandments, go ahead.
And shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you.
Wait, stop for a second. Ooh. How many commandments are there? This is kind of a trick question. I'm going to just let y'all know. How many commandments are there?
Oh, wow.
Say a lot. I like that a lot. It ain't just the 10 commandments. All of those are commandments that are part of the law. The 10 commandments are just basically the Bill of Rights. As you say,
sums up the law.
Right, yeah. I like to say that these 10 commandments are things that we have to immediately do. Like right now, we have to focus on, like if you're a newcomer, stop committing adultery. Stop X, Y, and Z, the 10 commandments. You know, like in the Acts 15 chapter says, for in every city they teach in Shemaiah. Every city they teach them. But when you come in, you should know this basic Bill of Rights.
Right.
The first 10 amendments, the first 10 commandments. But all the other commandments fit right up under that.
Right.
Okay? But so when he says lease, the lease is whatever you think the lease is. Whosoever shall keep the lease of them. But see, I just keep Shabbat and I keep the sanctified diet. I'm good.
No, you aren't.
You're not. You're not. You far from being good. Far from being good. Absolutely. Keep the least of the commandments. Man, you're keeping all of them, is what he's saying. Okay? All right. Go ahead.
For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case or in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven.
That's what the Messiah says.
SELAH.
That's what he says. Like in another place, which I don't think I'm gonna read this here. You know, many shall come in my name saying, have I done this in your name? Have I done this in your name? The same as I like, oh wait, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who you are. No, I get you undone these things, but it wasn't in my name. I told you you done these things, but you wasn't even keeping the commandments. Why are you doing these things? Talking about you out here laying hands on people, healing them sick, doing all this stuff. That wasn't in my name that you claim you were doing all this stuff in. But this 20th verse to me is the most profound verse in the entire New Testament.
It's also the scariest.
It's a scary.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall surpass the righteousness of these men who are teachers of the law. Teachers of the law. No, you don't want to mess with this cat. This cat is deep. Your righteous got to see his righteousness. Or you shall in no case, nothing is going to get you into the kingdom of heaven. Boy, I would love Christianity to be teaching that passage right there. Like I said, it's a whole lot of stuff that she was saying. You're like, oh, the Messiah said, oh, we should do that. The Messiah said.
And in another case, it said, the righteous so scarcely.
Right. Scarcely be. Right. If the righteous scarcely be saved, then where should the sinners and the unrighteous appear? Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's go on Ezekiel 22nd chapter. What time is it? Because
248.
okay, y'all give me a little time here, please. You say I leave at 4:30, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
Oh, that's right. Ezekiel 22nd chapter. Okay, I'm gonna do fast. Ezekiel 22nd chapter. Ezekiel 22nd chapter, and let's start this off at the 25th verse.
There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls. They have taken the treasures and precious things. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof.
And the key word I like here is conspiracy. Conspiracy of her prophets. By definition, what do we say conspiracy is?
People coming together to do something.
Uh-huh.
People coming together.
People come together to do something. Okay.
Or conspiracy usually means something that's done in secret.
Right. That's the key word. Secret.
Yeah.
It's a hidden thing. Hidden agenda. That's what the conspiracy is, right? 26.
Her priests have violated my law and have profaned my Kodesh things or holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths or Shabbats. And I am profane among them.
Ezekiel 22 and verse 26, y'all, that is Christianity. Ezekiel prophesied of a whole entire movement that had deceived the whole world. the pastors have violated my law. Right? We're not under the law. We don't keep no law. They have profaned my holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they showed a difference between the unclean and the clean. No difference. And have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths. And I am profane among them. If there's a better definition of Christianity, somebody help me find that. Because that's Christianity in a nutshell. Huh? No Shabbat, no clean or unclean, none of that stuff. So that's a Selah moment right there, y'all.
Yeah, Selah.
Okay, move right along. Deuteronomy, huh?
And the rest is down to 28.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the crooks, right? Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. That's a whole nother lesson.
Right.
Deuteronomy the 28th chapter.
Prophetic chapter.
We know that this is the State of the Union address that Shemaiah gives before he leaves, before he goes away. The very end of Torah. And the people are listening. We first start off with the blessings, if. The criteria is if. And then there's the curses, if, okay? Deuteronomy 28 and skip all the way down to the 45th verse.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you and shall pursue you and overtake you till you be destroyed, because you hearken not unto the voice of Yahuwah your Elohim to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded you. And they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon your seed forever.
Now stop. So yeah. So I just read that to let you know that a lot of people forget this, but all these curses, and notice he didn't say the blessings. The blessings aren't even a sign. They would have been a sign if we'd have been obedient. But like, no, I'm just letting you know that this is what you could have gotten. But y'all stiff-necked people, man. Y'all not even gonna say that it's all right. He said, yeah, so these curses that y'all are surely gonna get are gonna be for you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy people forever. So you still got people trying to wonder who Israel is. And the script, hey, if the Father have a covenant people, why in the world, even in these last days, would we would not be able to identify who these people are? Right? That makes sense, right? He allowed us to see that by that one verse. He said that these are for a sign and for one. So can't nobody, these curses are perfect upon the people.
I wonder what the Jewish people think when they read this.
Exactly. When I come up to somebody of another nation and say, man, what's your name? My name is Leroy Jenkins. They're going to already know. I'll be like, they're going to be thinking, that's odd. You don't look like a Jenkins.
Yeah.
We don't, huh?
Yeah. I was just thinking, because I saw someone who had said that, they're so tired of us saying that, oh, we're so blessed and highly favored. It was a whole video that they did on that. But the people that are really blessed and highly favored among, people are not us. And so, so you just think about, as soon as something is said, they're highly favored in their views,
right?
And their,
right?
Their, but yeah, that's interesting.
And here's the thing with that. We have our own definition. If I got me $1,000 bonus check, Christmas check from my job, It ain't Christmas, it's the end of the year check, okay? That's what I would call it. But anyway, the point is, I would feel blessed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's a car that I want real bad, and the Father allowed me to have this car.
The finance their car.
Huh?
The finance.
Or whatever. I'm not just, but the point is that this is not the blessing that the Father is talking about first and foremost. Second of all, we have to understand that among Israel, when we were in captivity, and I always like to show this to people, that there were some financially gifted Israelites even among us, even in captivity. Daniel is my best example of that, though. Daniel was, I say blessed, Baruch, and highly favored. He had status and everything in the kingdom of Babylon. You know, in the 9th chapter, he is looking at the condition of our people, and he had to put on sackcloth and ashes in his nice, comfortable house. And he's praying to the Father, oh, the curses that's written in the law of Shemaiah is come upon us. That's what he said in that 9th chapter. And I'm laughing. I'm like, man, yeah, to you those might be the law, the curses of the law of Shemaiah, but we are under something that he didn't even see.
Yeah.
But that's what he said. Our people are now we're under the curse, you know. But the point is that this dude was paid as he's saying this. But he knew that whatever his condition was, did not discount the fact that my people are suffering under what's written in the curse of the law. You know? So people need to understand that even among us, there's some that might, you know, have a little bit more than others. You know, like you look at the Michael Jordans or the Oprah Winfrey's and all them, right? But they still have names that don't even pertain to them, which is a sign of the curse. You know, you still suffering under the curses. Okay, so moving right now, I just wanted to throw that out. That was a Selah moment. Matter of fact, I want to read something else in that. Deuteronomy 28 chapter, skip down to the 62nd verse.
And ye shall be left few in numbers, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because you would not obey the voice of Yahuwah your Elohim. And it shall come to pass that as Yahuwah rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so Yahuwah will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to nothing. And ye shall be plucked from off the land where you go to possess it.
Man, our ancestors had put in the anger of the Father so much. And it's easy to understand that, man. When you have, like you have a friend or whatever, and you know that your friend was, hey, what's the name of that address on that?
Hassan?
Huh?
Hassan?
That's next door. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You don't nobody like us that much to get us. Anyway, hey, who was that? What verse did you just read?
He made me forget. 62.
62, right? You just read 62, okay?
I went all the way down to
you just read 62.
You said our ancestors, they put in the work or whatever. To bring you to nothing. I read 63.
Oh, you sure did, right. Oh, yeah, concerning the fact that the anger of the Father upon his people. Oh, yeah, I'm saying that you got a friend that was homeless, and you let him stay with you. You not only let him stay with you, you give him a job or something that caused him to make more money than he ever made in his entire life. And all of a sudden, the same friend start disrespecting you and disrespecting your house and all that. How could you not be angry at this friend that wouldn't have nothing if you had the love that you have for this friend allow him to elevate? That's just a short way of thinking about that anger. that don't even equate to anything that the Father has in making his people his covenant people from the whole face of the earth.
Right.
And y'all won't lack for nothing. Even your health. None of y'all won't even have high blood pressure. And we lead in that. And all other type of illnesses. But y'all chose that. You know? Not trying to sound like Kanye, but I'm just saying. From the Father's perspective, hey, I told y'all this was gonna happen. And it's going on. Y'all chose to be like this, and that's what it is.
The diseases, curses.
Huh?
The curses and the diseases.
All of it. You know.
Not eating right.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read it in a few minutes. Continue.
Verse 64. And Yahuwah shall scatter you among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there you shall serve other idols or other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone.
This one verse, man, I could be a whole hour on this verse. So I'm gonna go to Germany. You'll say, I'm gonna see somebody look just like me, and I'm already gonna know their whole story before they even open up their mouth.
Yep.
I'm gonna go to China. I'm gonna see somebody look just like me there.
What part of China?
Huh?
Is it a rich part of China?
I'm sure that we're probably serving in that rich part of China, but we're there. I'm gonna go to Puerto Rico. I remember I got into this thing with the people concerning Puerto Rico. You know, because one West tried to make everybody in Puerto Rico be Hebrews, Israelites. No, they're not. If everybody in Puerto Rico is Israelite, then everybody in America is Israelite. Because you have the slave master in Puerto Rico just like you have here in America. And you have the people that are not Israelites in Puerto Rico that are colonizers. Right. So I'm challenging this one brother on that. And I don't even know nothing about Puerto Rico. Never been there, never researched it or whatever. I asked him, I say, in the poorest part of Puerto Rico, I don't know what poorest part it is. He's Puerto Rican. Who lives in that poorest part of Puerto Rico? And he didn't want to answer the question. Because he knew that it was us that occupied the poorest parts of Puerto Rico. Poorest parts of Mexico, descendants of slaves. Everybody in Mexico ain't no Israelite. And that's the stuff that they come with that crazy doctrine.
Yeah, I saw somebody, I guess he was Mexican, Hispanic descent. He's like, I'm not an Israelite.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not Israelite.
I saw a video of a group of cats, and they were Israelites because I think they were under One West doctrine too, because they was fringed out and everything. But they're like, no, we're not Israel ethnically. I can't go with that.
Yeah,
right, we're not Israelites, right? Because with Israel, let me ask y'all a question. What year do y'all think it was when the Father made a covenant with us, approximately? If y'all had to guess, approximately.
Like 1800 BC.
You say 1800 BC. Okay. Anywhere from 1800 to 1500, something like that. Some people say Abraham was there in 1800, whatever. But, okay, but we're going to go with 1800 BC. Man, these Aztecs and Mayans and all them, they're like, we've been over here for before then. For thousands and thousands of years. We ain't no Israelites. We've been here while y'all was forming a nation over there in the land over there. So like you say, that's what these brothers said. They're Israelites, they keep the laws, statutes, everything, but we can't vibe with that because that's not really the truth. We're not really Israelites. I saw that same video. I was like, man, check these guys out. They straight up was telling the truth. You know? But I guess now Israel don't want to accept them because they said, no, we're not really Israelites. But that's not really how that works. Because we were scattered a long time. And every place that we've been, we've affected the people where we was them under. You see them cats over there? They wearing fringes. They must be Israelites, not necessarily. It could have been Israelites that was there that was wearing fringes. Because see, we are the salt of the earth. every place that we go, we affect change in every place we go. In art, in music, and whatever it is, we gonna affect that. So understand historically what that is. Here in America, I know that I have part Cherokee in me, but I know the history of the Cherokee people. They put us on auction blocks.
Mm-hmm.
They did. You look search your history and find that out.
Yeah,
We were sold into slavery among these native tribes
As a
here.
matter of fact, their slavery ended after it was legal. After it was illegal here, they kept us longer.
Yeah. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you had very few tribes among the natives that kind of treated us good. Very few, but a lot of them did.
Right.
Like the Seminoles, for instance, they were very nice toward us, but that they was the exception to the rule. I mean, that's historically the truth of the matter. You know, even right now, you have that thing they call the what they call them, the nickel Indians,
The $5.
$5 Indians or whatever, right? Explain that.
So basically, basically whenever they came over here, they could claim the land to be. It's a certificate they give, and they give them $5 for the certificate, so that it's
Gentiles, you talking about, right?
Yeah, Gentiles. They get a certificate for $5,
right?
And they'll sign a name saying I'm an Indian or I'm a native descent, or you know
Wow.
They tell us they're gonna cost a little bit more than $5 for us to even the ones that I know.
What about there was another one like that too, right? Then they had the tribal thing where you can get money, and then they had one aisle for the blacks and one aisle for the natives.
Yes, and there's some because I'm gonna say I was a good friend with a sister that she's native, and she has that. She gets paid, you know. My ex-wife used to work for the IRS. She used to tell me, you wouldn't believe the amount of money them niggas be getting paid. They be calling in about their taxes. They be getting paid big money, reparations or whatever, you know. But again, it's a difference between us and them. It is. So, but the thing is this. And another thing is that them Gentiles ain't named them natives. They didn't name them Cherokee. They didn't name them Iroquois, Apache, Sioux. That's their name.
Right. They kept their name.
They kept their names.
Yeah. And any of them that changed it did it because they were trying to fit in or they
Correct.
assimilated into the Christian faith.
Correct. Right. Absolutely. So like you said, these are upon us for a sign and for a wonder upon our seed forever. And again, just like we talking about the ancient Navajos and Apaches and all them that's down there, you know, Central South America, they got a whole culture that they, that nobody give them their culture, you know. So he says this. He says, then he says, there thou shalt serve other gods which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. I remember back when I first came into the truth, I had this doctrine where the wood, that's that cross. That's the wood. The stone, that's the that's no.
Mecca, right?
Yeah, the Islam, the black stone that fell from the sky that they were. That's that stone. So Christianity and
that's
Islam
crazy.
is the big. No.
Can I make Wakanda, the stone that came from the
Show enough. And bro, don't make me go through the Wakanda.
Please.
But I'm just saying.
Don't make me do that.
For right now.
Right, but yeah, I remember. That's a good point. That's a good start.
Let's table that.
That's right, but that's a good point though. It sure did fall from the sky, changed their whole life, right? But anyway, I want to talk about Jesus.
Bless that wonderful name.
Jesus is that God of wood and stone.
Okay.
There's not a single one of y'all that when I said that name Jesus, y'all had that same image in my head. The same image is in my head. Because that is Jesus. As Florida said, that's the one I know. That's the one I love. That's right. That's the real Jesus. Yahshua is not Jesus. Oh, see, Yahshua was his actual real name, but in English, that's a whole different identity. And people can debate this, but the scripture is clear. He said, in the nations where you are scattered, you will serve other gods of wood and stone. So the fact that you ain't never heard no name of Jesus in your life until somebody that don't look like you forced you to serve that deity and gave you all the doctrine of that deity, like the one that we're celebrating this month. His birth. Well, I'm just saying. I be doing like how the prophets do. You know, they say we. They say we. I always say we. That's right. But we have sinned and done foolishly. So I try to speak in the same spirit. And I got to be the same spirit because I have sinned and done foolishly. I have put the Christmas tree up in my house.
I ain't never had no Christmas tree in my house.
Well, you ain't gonna put that one on me.
My dad, they said, no, we ain't doing that. No,
Is that right?
Lights, none of that stuff.
Really?
We do the gifts, we ain't doing no.
Okay.
No Christmas tree.
Respect. Bro, I was determined to have the best looking tree on my block, Jack. Straight up. I ain't gonna lie, boy. That would be a competition with the lights and everything, boy. Hey, Cynthia. In Chicago, we used to turn up on that.
Yeah, we did. We did, because we want to have it right in the front window.
There was this one particular block. I don't know if you ever went down this block on 79th, and I don't know what it was, Norm or something. Everybody used to ride down that block because it was like daytime in the middle of the night.
I don't see how people sleep with all them lights.
Yeah,
right, true that. True that. But that's what I'm saying. The point is that we have sinned and done wickedly, just like what the prophet said. So therefore, this verse right here lets you know that this is Jesus right here.
Right.
He was made out of wood and he is made out of stone. And we all see them images from Brazil to the Vatican and everywhere else. You go into Catholic churches and them people are literally praying to that image, which is Jesus.
And they have it like almost every pew almost on the wall.
Yeah.
Or every 10 pews.
Yeah.
You just see that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Stained glass.
You know, and cats get into the tube and they'll be, trying to talk. They'll say Yahshua, Jesus. I hate when they'll write it on a post or something like that. Hey, don't put Yahshua with Jesus.
No, that's a whole nother.
Yeah. I got to say Jesus so people know who I'm talking about.
No.
Who told you that?
No, you don't.
Let Yahshua stand on his own.
Because I still think, when I hear other people in other nations, not here in the United States, other nations, they know that word.
Right.
They know his name.
That's the thing.
So I just don't get it.
We operate in that spirit of ignorance. They not ignorant.
No.
They'll break it down better than you can.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely correct. Good point.
SELAH.
Say, hey, that's right. SELAH. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
And among these nations shall you find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahuwah shall give you there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And your life shall hang in doubt before you, and you shall fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of your life. In the morning you shall say, would Elohim it were even, and at even you shall say, would Elohim it were morning. For the fear of your heart wherewith you shall fear, and for the sight of your eyes which you shall see.
Hey, this can only go on one people, y'all.
Right.
One people. Simple as that. Like I say, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Most Chicagoans don't know Jacksonville people unless you move down here. You know, I talk to people in Chicago all day long. I'll be trying to explain to them what's going on in
Does
Jacksonville.
Chicago know anybody outside Chicago?
That's correct. That's correct. That's another lesson, though. But that's absolutely correct. We don't need to know anybody outside of Chicago. Miss little Missy.
There's a lot of people from Chicago where I'm from.
Where?
In St. Pete.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Man, I moved to St. Pete, man. But y'all country.
But they got the same mindset.
Yeah.
He's got the same mindset. That's people with it.
But I'm just saying.
Oh, you didn't say I'm from Chi-Town.
Basically, they're from Chicago.
That's why I said what I said.
Wait, hold on. I'm curious. You say they had the same mindset?
Well, I mean, as far as I know, I've never been to Chicago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So what they do?
I don't know. It's just like, you know, the love is a lot less. Like, you know, the attitude is a lot more.
Ooh.
That's just what I get from it. That's just what I get from it. I mean, because I already know what goes on.
Ain't point no elbows on that one.
City right here.
Gotham City it is.
That's what it is.
This is like one of my best friends, but what she said.
Yeah, I got a homeboy, and then his dad from Chicago.
Chi-Town.
Chi-Town.
I'm from Chi-Town.
As Jay-Z said, it's so Chicago with him. It's because Chicago thinks they're the best.
You know what though? But this lesson is not about Chicago. It's
Well,
about.
Yes. I love you.
Come on, man.
But the point that I'm making though is that we have like bad conditions among where we live at, and here you got Moncrief. But we don't know each other, but how we live in the exact same type of way is the point I'm making.
Right.
Chicago, LA, Compton, Atlanta, Bankhead. It's the same people. We don't know who these people are, but we living in the same exact thing. North Miami, wherever.
New York, Queensbridge.
Yeah, Harlem before Bill Clinton got there, but that's a lesson. Right. What you saying?
No, I would say Harlem.
Yeah, but absolutely, the same conditions, the same people, and we don't even know each other. Not South Philly, North Philly. Ooh, whew. Man, it's crazy. But I'm just saying, how do you explain that outside of the scriptures, though? That's my question. How do you explain it outside of the scriptures? Like the other Selah question moment. Where was God when we was coming over here on slave ships? In mass.
You know what? Honestly, I don't think that people, when we say that, like, how are we all living in the same conditions in each city? We make a joke of it so people really don't see it. But you have to ask yourself, how is it that in every city we think that moving up is moving to a white neighborhood?
That's correct.
Ooh, that's SELAH.
It's really Selah, Because I'm old school. Y'all know where I'm going with this. I'm old school. I seen Samuel and Son when it was a new show.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I saw it when it was on NBC. Brand new. Man, what tonight's episode gonna be? Ain't nobody ever seen it before. I go Back to the Future and see it's new.
Right.
Right. But the point is that they made comedies out of a father and son junk collectors and Watts. And that's funny. But in their mind, that was our reality. That's what we're relating to, because that's our reality. And then you got Good Times, and they name it Good Times, but it wasn't good about the time.
None of them times was good.
And then the show that come after that is Moving On Up or Moving On Out, and that's a joke. But we live that joke because when we're stuck in the hood among our own people,
Or a prison of our mind.
right, of our own people that we find no ease in, we hope that we can move up to people that don't look like us.
And you just named 3 different cities.
And then the Jefferson song.
Huh?
The Jefferson song.
That's what I'm saying. It's all part of the entertainment.
Yeah.
And it gives us something to aspire to.
It was a good song.
But I'm just saying, though, that's like common knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? But they make a joke out of a real live situation. That's That's what he was
They
going.
said we're proverb and Bauer, right?
Oh, see, I ain't want to get into all the
No, I'm
curses and
saying,
everything,
I'm saying.
but absolutely,
It's a joke.
right, right. Or how they say we call it, everything but a child of God.
Yeah, but that's what I was.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. And Yahuwah, yeah, 68.
Here, now look, 68 verse. 90% of Israelites get this verse incorrect.
Yeah. And Yahuwah shall bring you into Mizraim again with ships.
Stop right there. He said he's going to bring you into Mizraim and ships. There's nothing symbolic about this verse. See, brother, the word Egypt means house of bondage.
Yep.
The word Egypt don't mean house of bondage.
Otherwise, it would have stated just like it said, even, which is the going down of the sun, which is what
Right.
you brought up.
No, see, what they
You
do
don't
is
see that
they conflate Exodus 20th chapter. I have bought you out of Egypt,
Oh,
the
out of the
house
house
of bondage.
Oh, okay.
Egypt does not mean house of bondage. He just expressing to them that y'all was in Egypt, which to y'all was the house of bondage.
Right.
Pharaoh wouldn't know, oh, I'm the Pharaoh of Egypt, which is the house of bondage. That's what Egypt means, the house of bondage. No, it does not. But they conflated to say, well, see, when he was talking to them, he was telling them that they weren't going into literal Egypt again. It says again, meaning that the very place he told them, and y'all all seen it because y'all came out of that, y'all going to go there again. And we did go back into Egypt again. See, because they don't know historically that that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When the Romans, the Gentiles, controlled all the Mediterranean,
Specifically the Spaniards.
specifically, we went on slave ships from there into the slave coast of Egypt. All of those cities were slave coasts, just like even how they make cities in America like the Egyptian cities. Like, anybody ever been to Memphis, Tennessee before? I was on the banks of Mississippi on Memphis. Memphis is Egypt. And they have slave chains and stuff still there and everything. Downstate in Illinois, at the very bottom of Illinois is a town. You know what that town is called? You know what I'm talking about? You can't get no further in Illinois until you go into Cairo.
Oh.
Cairo is Egypt.
Right.
And it's the same thing. It's off the Mississippi, the same dynamic. We went literally into the room. Romans took a hold of us. They didn't walk us back down into Egypt like the way we came in there. They put us on ships, just like what the verse is saying. It said, and Yahuwah shall bring thee into Egypt or Mitzrayim again. And you got to imagine that this is Shemaiah talking to these people here. There's no way they could have heard him thinking, oh, he don't mean Mizraim. He just meant something symbolic. See, we say that because we try to get a 20th century mindset to trying to understand something that really means what it says.
Right.
Egypt, well, it's talking about America. We're in Egypt right here. That's not what that's saying. You can't go by like he's speaking to you because he's not speaking to you. He's speaking to the people that was there.
You have to look at it from a historical dynamic.
That's right, from a historical dynamic. And it means exactly what he said. And Yahuwah shall bring thee into Mizraim again. He could have said that he's going to bring y'all into slavery again. He's going to bring y'all into captivity again. No, he gave them a place that they're going to go to again. He means absolutely what it says. Again, with ships. Finish that.
By the way whereof I spoke unto you, you shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall save you.
Now, I'm sure it's possible, but on the map, Egypt is the gateway into the whole continent. Huh? If you end up in Africa, some kind of way you're in Africa, you got there by going through Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Can you point on that map for me?
Yeah, this map here, yeah. See, this is Israel. This is the Mediterranean right here. And this is Egypt right there. And it is about, I don't want to make this up. There are quite a few miles. It looks like it's right near, it's close, but there are quite a few miles between Joppa, the coast of Israel, to Memphis and Cairo and Alexandria and all them other slave capitals that held us in slavery, and other nations came and bought us, just like what the scripture said. And there is a place. Mizraim is a place that he said we would go there again. From there, you shall be sold as bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you.
Yep.
Shall get you out of that. We're going to do part 2 next Shabbat, y'all. Finish it out next Shabbat.
Yeah.
This is a fun lesson.
Huh?
This is a fun one.
This is what?
Fun.
Oh, hallelujah. They all should have a certain level of fun to it, but because that's how the Father is.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Anybody have any more questions or anything? Anything? Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody except for Joseph? No.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about in the beginning with Genesis. I was going to ask you, like, for what reason do some translations say that they were something about the water, something like that?
Oh, the maritime?
Yeah, the maritime people.
Yeah.
I just think it's to throw people off, to be honest with you.
That's right.
Yeah, it's to throw people off. Just like he said, most of them, they say nations, by the isles of the nations. And that understanding makes you think like, I can't even, that just don't make sense. Isles of the nations. Because you have isles among all the 3 sons of Noah.
Because if you get the understanding of that, then you'll get the understanding of other things. And he's right. I think it's like when they took out the word black, they used swarthy instead of black. It's like, well, why took out the word black when it pertains to someone's skin?
Right.
It's like, why didn't you just leave that in? They didn't want you to know.
Exactly. Numbers the 12th chapter, and Shemaiah married. Some of them don't say Ethiopian. We just happen to have Ethiopian here in the KJV. Some will say Cushite.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the wherewithal to understand who Cush was. Because you can't look on the map and it's going to say Cush.
I got Cushite.
Huh?
Cushite.
Right, you got Cushite, absolutely. You see, it says Cushite. Some of them might say something else other than that.
Right.
But you have to study to know who Cush is.
Yeah.
But you ain't going to look on no modern map and see no Cush.
Right, because even in verse 6 of chapter 10, Genesis, it says Cush, Ham's, Cush, Mizraim. Don't say Cush.
Right,
Don't say
right.
Ethiopia.
So the thing is, the Father allowed those of us to be able to study His Word, to be able to see past the stuff that we have been deceived with. So, again, KJV, when it says the word Gentile there, that's the word Gentile first appears there with capital letters, G. Just by the fact that it's a proper noun, that discounts all the other words that they could have used there to deceive people. But you have something for that? You have something, or you just asked?
Oh yeah, I was just asking.
Okay, yeah.
See, you might have known the answer.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So when it says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, what exactly is that explaining?
Right, Deuteronomy 28, right. There's 2 ways that he could be talking about our homeland that you won't see no more again, or he could be talking about Mizraim that you would see no more again after you have been sold for bond men and bond women.
Because they can't be redeemed, you're not going to be able to redeem them and buy them back.
Right.
Can't be brought back. Yeah, can't be brought back once you're being sold, or it can't be brought back to that.
Yeah, but he told them before that they wouldn't see that way anymore. So what? Yeah, that's what is. There's probably a reference somewhere for that.
Do you have anything for that?
Well, no, it's just coming into the truth some years ago. I get one explanation, that 90% explanation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But,
right.
Sometimes, like you said, it seemed like it could go two different ways.
Yeah. So the thing is, like I say, the key to all of these reading anything in the scriptures is that you got to understand it from the point of view of the people that it's speaking to, and not from your own translated point of view in your mind, to try to make it make sense. That's what we do. Make it make sense to us. See, that's what it means to me. It don't mean nothing to you because nobody talking to you.
Right.
Like, for instance, in Acts the 10th chapter. That's a real good example. In Acts the 10th chapter, Christians would isolate that one verse. What God hath cleansed, call not thou common. And then they understand everything just from that one verse. See, right here, man, what God cleansed, do not thou call common. So don't come to me talking about this is unclean, that's unclean. Don't you see what that verse says? But wait a minute now. When you read that verse, my question is, did Peter know what that meant? When you read that and you see that the Spirit is talking to Peter, did Peter know what he meant when he said that? Help me out, somebody. Did Peter know what that meant?
I don't think he did.
Huh?
No.
But see, that's the point that I'm making. So you're going to quote me a verse that you think you know what it meant, but wasn't nobody talking to you. The Spirit was talking to Peter. So when you read that, it says here in Acts the 10th chapter, it says, so he got this vision. He got this vision. And what verse is that? Right, verse 13. And there came a voice to him, rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, not so, master, for I have never eaten anything that is common and unclean. Now, I stop right there. Have people think about this. How many years have Yeshua been crucified and sitting on the right hand of the Father? It's been, I'm just say about 30 years. I don't care if it was 1 year ago. The point is that Peter is telling this Spirit that he's speaking to him that I have never eaten anything common and unclean. So one thing that we can gain from this is that Peter knew that his death and resurrection did not mean that I can now eat unclean things. Right? Let's go even further with this. In Matthew the 15th chapter, and that's weird because I was actually going to read this earlier and I didn't read it, but now I'm here. Watch this. Matthew 15th chapter. Yeah, I ain't going to go through all of this, but it starts off saying that then came Yeshua, scribes and Pharisees, which are of Jerusalem, saying, why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders, for they wash not their hands when they eat bread? Matthew 15th chapter. Right?
What verse?
I was at, third verse.
Okay.
And read that third verse for me.
But he answered and said unto them, why do you also transgress the commandment of Elohim by your tradition?
Now check this out. So notice what the conversation is. These disciples of the scribes and Pharisees were looking at the disciples of Yeshua, and they're like, man, y'all are transgressing the traditions of the elders. Y'all don't even wash y'all hands when y'all eat bread. And then Yeshua turned to them and said, but why do you transgress the commandment of the Father by your tradition? And he gives an example of them doing it because the law says honor your father and mother, but you say, hey, whosoever shall buy your father and mother a gift, whatever, and they don't honor this father and mother, he shall be made free from the commandment. You don't put an asterisk to the commandment, says honor your father and mother. You can't buy out your mother and father. You got to honor your mother and father. You can't pay them off and disrespect them and do all that, which is what people do now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So he gave that example, and then he says, in verse 7, you hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy you, saying, this people draw nigh to me with their mouth, honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. And watch this. And he called the multitude, saying to them, hear and understand. Now he's going to say something here. Not that which goeth into the mouth defile the man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defile the man. It's this one-hit wonder that Christians read. He said, they just told you that. But check this out. Earlier we read 2 places where abominable foods defile a man. We read it in the law, and we read it in Paul's letter in Corinthians. So what did Yahshua mean here? Now watch this. Then came the disciples, and said unto him, knowest not that the Pharisees were offended after they heard this saying? Now, just stop there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Would Yahshua have been hypocritical or contrary if he done reproved these men for transgressing the commandments of the Most High, and then you turn around and telling them that don't nothing defile you by eating it? How does that work?
Right.
Because they could have turned around and say, dude, you crazy, because the law says that this defile you by eating it, this defile you by eating it. Because he's talking to commandment keepers or those who supposed to know the law, right? So they could have turned around and said, man, look, man, you're contradicting yourself.
But the context of the dialogue,
right,
was not talking about food.
That's correct. But check this out though. But this is the reason why I went here. Well, what the verse 15 says.
Then answered Kepha and said unto him, declare unto us this parable.
Peter is the same dude that just told the spirit, I have never eaten anything common or unclean.
Right.
A whole 20, 30, 40 years afterwards. So Peter knew that what Yahshua was saying was not saying that you could break the sanctified diet. And so it's not what you just said. When you finish it, he said, and just ended up in verse 30.
Verse 30?
To verse 20, I'm sorry.
Verse 20, okay. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defiles not a man.
So they all that was there understood that that's what he was talking about. He couldn't have been telling them that you can now eat pork, you can now eat shrimp, because that would have been contrary to his original.
And Peter would have.
Well, now, see, let's say that. Absolutely, he'd have been having to run.
Yep.
After that ain't no joke. So he's talking to these commandment keepers that knew the law. That could not have been the context.
That's a very good point, 1230.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So when we read this, we got to know who's speaking, who we speaking to, where they at, and all that to understand properly. But people that don't have all that, they'll go away with, look, I can't eat nothing that's going to defile me, because they just got that one verse. So going back to Acts 10, I read that because Peter was the one specifically. Because if Peter would have understood this, he would have, shoot, I'm finna eat this shrimp tonight.
Ew.
He wouldn't have questioned the spirit.
Right. And then when the spirit came, he would have said, hey, bro, I already know. That should already wind me up, man.
Right.
I'm hungry, and I would have eaten, and now you give me this vision of all these unclean foods, man, I'm ready. But going back to Acts 10 chapter, verse 15, and the voice spake unto him again the second time, well, Elohim have cleansed, that call not thou common. And so then I asked people, did Peter understand what he meant by that?
And verse 17 makes it clear.
Exactly. But see, they never go past that.
Right.
So I understand what it means. Unclean foods, what was hard to understand? He done reproved them, he done commanded me to rise, kill, and eat. How hard can that be? But it's hard because he's talking to a man that knew the law. You don't know the law, so you gotta be quick to be eating and celebrating and be thankful to the Most High for all that stuff.
You can't
handle the truth.
That's right. He said this was done thrice, 3 times, and the vessel was sealed up again in the heaven. Now, while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean, he doubted in himself. That's the answer. He did not know. Let me elevate that, illuminate that, amplify it. He did not know what the vision meant, but he knew what the vision didn't mean. He came away with that vision. He died. So like, man, look, I just know damn well he ain't telling me that I can eat this stuff. I know that cannot be the case.
That ain't that. He tried the spirit.
Right.
He tried the spirit.
Exactly. Exactly. I done already went through that misunderstanding when Yahshua, like, don't nothing can defile you. I done went through that already. Now, that couldn't be it.
That lesson already passed.
Right. I got the keys to the kingdom. Now, I was in my ignorance back then, but he broke it down very well. Right. And now here the spirit is, and the spirit ain't a Satan. See, that's another good point. Right. He didn't say, this is Satan coming to me. No, this is the Father. Right. But he's commanding me something. He said, not so YAH. Right. Not so master, or whichever swelling title he used, he gave it to that spirit and said, oh, no, he rejected it. No way, okay? Yeah. And then it says, now while Peter died himself with vision, and here go these Israelites, y'all, don't have no understanding concerning this. Now while Peter died himself with his vision, which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate.
Come on now.
What nationality were these men that were standing there before the gate?
They were Gentiles.
They were Gentiles. But these cats say these Gentiles were Israelites. They were of the 10 tribes, 10 lost tribes. There in the New Testament was never no enmity between Zebulon, Levi, Gad, and whatever. But these cats be reading this like, you got to tell Cornelius was an Israelite. He could not possibly be an Israelite. He sent Italians.
In fact, hold up. If he wasn't an Israelite, why would he tell him to send for Kepha, which was an Israelite, because he was doing the things that he was keeping the commandments? But why would the Father tell him to seek out an Israelite?
Right. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
If he was an Israelite, why would the Father tell him to seek out an Israelite to become
Israelite? A believer, right? That don't make sense. And so these men come to his gate. Now, when Peter died himself, what this vision should mean, which is so he died himself, what this vision should mean. Behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate, and called and asked whether Shimon, which was surnamed Kepha, were lodged there. While Kepha thought on the vision, because Kepha is stuck. I'm trying to figure this stuff out, man, because it got me twisted. While Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, behold, 3 men seek thee. Arise, therefore, and get thee down in nothing, for I have sent them. So this is telling me that unless the Spirit had came to him again, saying, accept these dudes, he would have been like, tell him I ain't home.
Right.
Who down there? These Gentiles down there asking for me? Man, shoot, I don't feel like spending the night in jail.
Right.
Not tonight.
Why these soldiers asking for me?
Why they asking for me? How they even know about me? Exactly. So 20, arise therefore and get thee down and go with them doubting nothing. Because you're doubting the vision, but these men don't doubt nothing, for I have sent them. Then Peter went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius, and said, behold, I am who you seek. Why are you coming for me? I have to do AJ right there. Why y'all coming for me? verse 22.
Where we at?
And they said, verse 22,
Oh.
and they said, Cornelius the centurion,
Mm.
a just man and one that feared Elohim and of good report among all the nation of the Yahudi, was warned from Elohim by a holy angel to send for you into his house and to hear words of thee. Then called them in and lodged them, and on the morrow Kepha went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa accompanied him as well. I do that as well, man. And the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, so we know that this is not Israel, right? And Cornelius waited for them and had called together his kinsmen. His kinsmen. These are not Israelites. That's why it's making a distinction of his kinsmen. They were not Israelites. It was his kinsmen and near friends. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshiped him. But Kepha, he didn't say, yeah, Gentile, kiss my feet, because y'all gonna serve me. No. Peter took him up saying, stand up, I myself also am a man. And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that would come together. And he said to them, you know how that is unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew. And this is not YAH's law. This is the man's law.
Right.
The Sanhedrin Council put this together.
Segregation in itself.
Right. You know how that is unlawful for a man that is a Yahudi to keep company or coming to one of another nation? Another nation. These cats would not. The tribe of Gad, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of some other tribe.
Mine said another race.
Another race? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's unlawful coming to one of another nation. And not only that, but see, another thing that we don't understand is that, and we go in the scripture to show this, in Yahudah, the nation of Yahudah or Judea, whatever they called it, there were other tribes that were there too. There were all of the tribes were represented there too, because some of them escaped from the north kingdom and came down into Judea. Tribes of Asher, especially it was Zebulun, Manasseh, and they were real deep into that, into Judea. It tells you in the book of 2 Chronicles how after the king Sennacherib had scattered Israel, that some of them came back down and lived in Israel. So there was never a thing where we saw our other tribesmen as being like, oh man, I can't deal with them. That's made up. That's nowhere in the scripture where there was any discrepancy between the 12 tribes of Israel like that, where Judah was like, oh, we the chosen, but y'all was scattered somewhere else.
This is amazing. Verse 28 clears up two doctrines that were false right here.
Verse 28, right. And he said to them, you know how that is unlawful for a man that is a Yahudi to keep company or coming to one of another nation. But Elohim has shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
So that
reference back to verse 15 that clear that up.
Right.
That's to clear up.
Correct. So now he understood what the vision meant. Yes. No time before that did he understand what the vision meant.
10 years ago.
Vision had nothing to do with food. It had something to do with mankind. Now, did I miss something?
No.
Oh, no? Okay.
No, the other one was, but Elohim have showed me that you shouldn't call any, the food. It didn't mean eat the unclean food. It meant people. And then the other one was for the nations. They can't be Hebrews because it says of another nation.
Right.
And so that was two doctrines.
Right.
That one verse.
Mm-hmm. See, again, and understand that our purpose was Yahshua. Did Yahshua come for other nations? No, Yahshua didn't come for other nations. He only came for Israel because he came to build us up, to return us back to the priesthood. He didn't come for other nations. He made that clear. It didn't mean that he was prejudice against other nations. It means he was just simply trying to return us back to the Father so that we could do what we were supposed
Which
to do.
was to
Which
be
was
with
to
other
talk to the
nations.
other nations.
That's right.
That's our
Very
job.
beginning.
In order for us to be right with them,
His
we
job
got
is
to
to wake us
ourselves
up.
Right.
Our job is to wake them up.
And again, I like to stress this
Thank
too.
you.
A lot of
If it was for the work that the Father did through Yahshua and bringing these other nations into this truth,
We would not have this.
we wouldn't be reading out of no scriptures right now. We wouldn't be reading out there.
Thank you, Cornelius, and your descendants.
Absolutely, absolutely, because it was through the work that they did. Just like when people don't understand historically, 70 A.D. we were out of the land. We were dispersed. But guess what? You still had believers there
Cornelius
in 70.
his
Yeah,
family was
they were
there.
still there. Believers was there. When the Romans was killing them people, they were mostly Gentiles that
Yeah.
were dying up on crosses for over 200 years until Constantine came on the scene. Because we were gone. See, nobody debates that after 70 A.D. Israel was out, Israelites was gone, but there were still believers that was there that were not Israel.
That's why he pushed that Christian faith. It was like either convert or die.
That's right.
And they didn't
Because
want
they
to
were
let-
killing their own people.
Yeah, they didn't want to let go of that tradition.
Yeah.
They was like, all right, cool. We going up, put everything together.
They said they were killing them people, 500 people on crosses every day.
That's what
You read about the movie Ben-Hur, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't no Israelite that was Ben. There were, Gentiles that was fighting gladiators, like gladiators fighting gladiator fights in Jerusalem, being fed to lions and stuff like that. Because we were gone, we wasn't there.
Yeah. He came along and let them know you can't have a kingdom without people.
Right.
You gotta do something different.
Mm-hmm. But that's what our job was from the very beginning, to be a light to the world. To be a light to the world, man. We have to maintain that role. See, people hear that, they be like, oh man, trying to save Europeans. They come up with man-made philosophical stuff. They're like, oh no, that's not the way it goes.
Well, he said, my desire is not for any to perish.
That's right.
All to have eternal life.
Come on.
And then he said, I can't find this. It's in the book of Romans 4 or something. He said, in time past, no, it might be in Acts. In time past, he winked at the nations.
Oh,
But now he commanded all men to repent. Yeah. It's in the book. You see the Acts of Romans. I should know it by heart. But that's what the truth of the matter is. It's what our job is, to be a light to the world. To bring all those. So that's why when Yahshua, the son of Nun, when them men came and they told them they was the people of another nation, he was glad. They were glad. Boy, they're like, oh, they say for the name of Yah, y'all come on, come be a part of this. He didn't even say y'all gonna be hewers of wood. Y'all gonna be no, y'all are part of Israel. It's all good. But then we found out who they were. Like, oh, wait a minute, y'all Canaanites. Dad, we were supposed to kill all y'all. Father say, nope, but you can't kill them because you done already made a covenant with them.
Right.
And the only reason why they were given the role of being, hewers of wood, because they deceived them. They were Canaanites. But if they were some other nation, because they say, look, man, we from a far nation. I ain't going to tell you what our name is because you ain't never heard of it anyway. They like, okay, cool. Right, that's right. Okay. Acts 17. So what that said, read it, Acts 17, you read right there. Oh,
no, it's not all of it.
okay. Acts 17.
Yeah, Acts 17 and 30.
Acts 17 and 30.
And then, And then
Wait a minute. Before you read that 17 and 30, hey, this is a good reading, y'all. Acts 17 and verse, hold up. Pick this up at verse, now they're in Athens. That's not Israel. Huh?
Acts 17.
Okay, that's cool. Acts 17 and verse 17. Oh, Acts 17 and 16.
17 to 16.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry. Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Yahudi and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met with him.
So Paul said that he was in Athens. Again, Athens ain't in Israel.
Greece.
It's Greece. And his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city. When he said the city, he ain't talking about Israelites. He talking about whoever lived in the city is who he talking about. They were doing what they always been doing. Right. Just like we going down to New Orleans around the time of the Mardi Gras, and we sit there, oh my God, please, this is horrible. This is sickening. Right. But go ahead.
Then certain philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoic encountered him, and some said, "What will this babbler say?" Others some, he seemed to be a setter forth of strange idols, because he preached unto them Yahshua and the resurrection.
Now, some of these were not Israelites, okay? I'm just going to be nice. Some of them were not Israelites, okay? These Epicureans and Stoics and all these other philosophers, because we know that Greek is that's philosophy,
Right.
where it comes from. Go ahead.
And they took him and brought him unto Areopagus, saying, "May we know what this new doctrine whereof you speak is."
Areopagus, that don't sound Hebrew. If I borrow the Lord's verse, go ahead.
For you bringing certain strange things to our ears, we would know.
That's not very nice. Go ahead.
We would know therefore what these things mean. For all the Athenians and strangers which were there, for all the Athenians and the strangers which were there spent their time in nothing else but either to tell or to hear some new thing. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, "Ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things ye are too superstitious."
When he say you men of Athens, he's not really talking to Israelites, y'all. Okay? But go ahead.
For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription, "To the unknown God, whom therefore ye ignorantly worship him, declare I unto you. Elohim, that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is master of heaven and earth." Wait a minute, why am I saying that?
I'm just saying that he's breaking it down. Elohim that made the world. He didn't just make Israel. He made the whole world and all things therein, seeing that he is the master of heaven and earth, dwelling not in temples made with hands. Go ahead.
Neither is worship with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he gives to all life and breath and all things, and hath made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation.
He said, "And have made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth." He's not talking to Israelites even right here.
Right.
He's letting them know that the Father is universal. He only sanctified Israel to be his priest nation, but the whole point was to bring the whole earth into the unity of the Father. Go ahead.
That they should seek Yahuwah, if happily they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being. As certain also of our own poets have said.
Of your own poets.
Oh, I'm sorry, of your own
not
poets.
Our poets ain't said this.
As
Your
certain also
Greek
of
poets
your
have
own
said
poets
this.
have said, for we are also his offspring. For as much then as we are the offspring of Elohim, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device. And the times of this ignorance Elohim winked at, but now command all men everywhere to repent.
All men everywhere to repent. So he winked at y'all ignorance. He had to wink at y'all ignorance. Why did he wink at their ignorance?
Because we were out.
Because we were out of order. How can they believe if ain't nobody went there to deal with them?
Right.
That's in the same book. How can they?
That's in Romans.
Is it Romans?
Romans, yeah.
Okay.
Romans is the 10th chapter. Yep.
How can they hear
Without a priest? Right, but that's the whole point. That's what Yahshua did, was to bring us back into this priesthood, the covenant people that we were created to be, because the Father is the Father of order. He said, I couldn't deal with them. But the Father did have certain dynamics with other nations, though. He didn't know no other nation, meaning he wasn't in the covenant. But Sodom, did he have a relationship with Sodom? Yeah, he did.
Yes, with Lot.
With Lot.
Oh yeah, Abraham.
With Abraham, right. Because he called Abram to deliver Sodom from obscurity. They were destroyed. And now, after he done delivered Sodom, they went back to their land with the king. Said, look, I'll give you all this stuff. Just give me the people. And he said, look, I don't want to take nothing from you, man. Go on about your business. And they went back to them. But when they went back there, they could not live the way they lived prior, because they was delivered by the Elohim of Abram.
Right.
So in the 18th chapter, the father said, damn, should I hide from Abraham this thing that I'm going to do? Because I'm about to take Sodom out.
Wow. Because they already know better.
Right. And you had Lot there to preach to them, to show them the way. And Abraham like, ain't no way the Sodomites are not living right. They got a picture of me in every living room. They know who I am, because if it weren't for me, they wouldn't even be in their place right now. And they got my nephew there. But Abram don't know that. The scriptures say that they vex his spirit every day with their unrighteous conversations. You know, but they should have been more righteous than even Israel should have been. For I said, I'm about to destroy it. I gave them a chance.
First hand.
Right.
First hand.
That's right. Absolutely. And Abraham like, look, wait, hold up.
It's got to be
50. Got to be 50. Somebody told me the same thing, brother. You in Jacksonville, bro. I know you probably got about 200 people coming up in the spirit of YAH. I'm like, yep. Every night I go to sleep. Every night I go to sleep, bro. Yeah. Brother up in Chicago, man. Brother. It ain't what the scripture says. But straight up though, and that was 50. And when the father agreed, he like, wait, 40? Yeah, I didn't mean 40, I meant 30 is what I meant. Yeah, well, no, 20. You ain't understanding the way I'm speaking. 20 is what I said. Right. And he agreed to it. The first guy about it, I know damn well a lot ain't got 5 people there. I know doggone well. Right. See, we don't be saying that though. The people chose to not serve the Most High, to be wicked. They chose wickedness even after they were delivered by the Elohim of Abraham. Same thing with Jonah. Y'all know I could be 2 hours on that. But the father told this Israelite to go teach Nineveh. They weren't Israelites. Go teach them and tell them, look, y'all better get it together. Because they had a previous dynamic with the Most High is the reason why that. See, the father, just like the same thing with Canaan. Same thing with Canaan. People say, oh, you know, right, I'm saying, but people like, oh, you know, because he, what's his name? Ham saw Noah naked or whatever, saw his nakedness, and then Noah cursed him, whatever. That was not the total dynamic of the reason why Canaan got what they got. They was living in the Holy Land. And like you said, in that same chapter 14, they had Melchizedek right there to teach them how to do what they need to do. And they rejected him. And the father said, look, when the father gave Abram the prophecy in Genesis 15 chapter, your seed shall be in the 400 years in the land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them for 400 years. And he says, in the 4th generation, they shall come here again. Anybody remember this line? They shall come here again for the iniquity of the
Amorites
Amorites have not yet come to full. The Amorites were the Canaanites. They had a certain time to get it together.
Right.
He said their time ain't came yet. But when their time comes, Abram, you're going to be dead. You're going to sleep with your fathers. But in the fourth generation, they're going to come right here again. And they came right here again in the fourth generation. And he said for the iniquity of the Amorites, when they came again, Father destroyed Canaan. And the Amorites right there in the land. So they had a chance. He gave them a fair chance. They already in the land. Gave them a fair chance. And the Father don't allow anybody to just live in this land any kind of way.
That's why it's desolate to this day.
That's right. That's right. And that's why we can't go back into the land until he come down and cleans us up and bring us back into the land.
Right.
Return our captive.
Right. And when you bring us back to the land, it ain't going to be a few people going into the land. We're going to go into the land with power. All the earth we're going to see the Father's people coming back into the land.
Mm-hmm.
Hallelujah. Man. Anything else, y'all? Any other questions? Did you get something out of that?
I got all of it.
Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I just wanted to clarify. So basically, Peter thought that the voice was telling him to eat unclean foods.
No, Peter never thought that.
Yeah.
That's the point. Peter never. He kept doubting himself what that vision would mean.
He was unsure about it.
He was unsure. Matter of fact, he knew that it didn't mean unclean foods. Because if he knew that, then he would have never doubted it. See, he didn't know what the vision meant, but he knew what the vision didn't mean.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
How come he said not so? He hasn't eaten anything that is common or unclean.
But that's the point. He's telling the spirit that told him to eat everything unclean. He's rebuking the spirit. Said, "Wait a minute, man! I ain't never ate nothing clean, unclean."
Right.
Spirit came back again. Well, Elohim and cleans do not call down common, and it went away. It came down 3 times, and it went away. The very next verse says, "Now while Peter doubted in himself what that vision," he said, meaning that, I don't understand what this vision means. The 3 men that Cornelius sent was at knocking on his door. And when they knocked on his door, the Spirit came to him again and says, "Go with these men and don't doubt nothing, for I have sent them." Because in other words, if the Spirit didn't come down and tell him to go with him, he wouldn't have went.
Because it was unknown.
These men were Gentiles.
He would have thought they were unclean men.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. So
Because-
verse
because-
28's the answer.
Right, but that's the point, though. He felt that they were unclean. Because, again, he breaks it down that there's a current law that we're under that says it's unlawful for us to go eat with another nation. So that is what made them, in his eyes, unclean by that law, that man-made law that Israel had that says we can't eat with them. We can't eat with the Samaritans.
Oh, okay.
So it was a law
Right.
of segregation in that land.
He was in like a whole nother land.
Right. And check this out. Right, so like you said, the 28th verse is what breaks it down when you finally understand that the vision was talking about men, not food. Right. But check this out also, if you go into Matthew, the 10th chapter, right? And that's another one that they can't really break it down. But Matthew, the 10th chapter, it starts off. Matthew 10th chapter, it says, you gonna read that, verse 1?
Oh, from verse 1. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
Okay.
Now the names of the 12 apostles are
You know what? I'm not gonna get into the names of these 12 apostles.
Okay.
Some of them is some names though that would make you think. Like in verse 4, it says Simon the Canaanite. Like, why is he called a Canaanite? Because they are living in the land of Canaan, and there clearly were some Canaanites that were still living there, and it identifies Simon here as a Canaanite, which is a deep thing there.
And nobody else has a.
Right. Exactly. Right. But anyway, verse 5.
Verse 5. These 12 Yahshua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
And into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Yashrael.
The lost sheep of the house. Who's the lost sheep of the house of Israel? Who is that?
The one that was under the curses.
Huh?
Those under the curses.
But yeah, technically. But when we talk about the lost sheep of the house of Israel, we're talking about 12 tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Not one tribe, 2 tribes, 3 tribes. We're talking about 12 tribes of Israel.
Right.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he say don't go into the way of the Gentiles?
Mm-hmm.
So, there must be a difference between the Gentiles and the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right. Anybody understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. Because he only came for Israel.
Mm-hmm.
But then after he ascended up into heaven, he told them these very places he said don't go to. He said you're going to be witnesses of me in all of these places.
He said, "Go make disciples of all nations."
Right. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Let's see. Hold up. Yeah.
And be grafted in like a wild olive tree.
Hold up. What that? Acts the first chapter. That's Acts first chapter. I think you. Oh, also it's in the end of Matthew too. I think. Let me see.
Which one we going to?
Oh, okay, yeah, we're going to Matthew. That's what she quoted. That's right. Let's see if what Cynthia said is correct here, because as a Hebrew, that don't sound correct.
You're wrong.
Matthew 28 and verse 18.
Hallelujah. And Yahshua came and spoke unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you.
Wow.
And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world.
Man, that don't need no private interpretation for that. You told them to go teach all the nations.
SELAH.
Yup.
So did that help answer your question though? About the food and everything and how it was the vision was for 3 unclean men and not unclean to eat unclean food.
Right.
Okay.
Because there, just to think about back, even when you had there's different nations that even had that as part of their law. Even when it came to Joseph, he couldn't even eat with
Right. He was a ruler. Right.
Yeah,
Good
he was
point.
a ruler, and he couldn't even eat with.
It was abomination for them Mizraimites and Egyptians to eat with the Hebrews.
Man, every nation we was under had segregation.
Yeah,
From us. Be it America.
I was thinking that too.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that too, because just like how when the Gibeonites came and he said, you're going to be drawers of wood and water, and that wasn't no curse to them. That was just a position that they was given to them because they tricked them. But look, that's what y'all can do. Y'all hew wood and water, and we're going to call it even, call it square. Y'all still going to live. All the other Canaanites going to die, but y'all going to live because y'all going to do that. When, like you say, when we was in Mizraim, but we were asked, what did we do? We say, well, we were herdsmen, or what's the word?
Oh yeah, there were
husbandmen or whatever. We've been husbandmen from our youth. And Fred was like, okay, well, y'all gonna go down to Goshen, okay? Let's go down to Goshen and do y'all husbandman stuff things. Cause for us, that's abominable. Right, that's abomination. Y'all go down there, sanctify yourselves and be in Goshen, and y'all live y'all lives and be cool, be blessed or whatever, do y'all thing. So it's like they gave us a position in Mizraim, just like the Gibeonites had got a position in Israel.
Right.
I just thought how that was kind of similar. And to the Egyptians, it's like to us, we probably been like, man, I don't want to draw no wood, I don't want to draw no water. Okay, well, they gonna do it. And then should be like, man, we don't deal with cattle. We don't want to be killing cattle and doing all that stuff. Oh, well, that's what we do. Okay, y'all do that then. y'all do that. Stay there. Don't come to Memphis. Don't come to Alexandria. Don't come to Cairo. We cool.
Oh yeah, they were outside.
Yeah, they were the best part. They said it was. He said he tried the best.
Right, probably the best part for what they wanted
For what
to
they
do,
wanted to
though.
do, yeah.
So that could have been what it was saying.
It's relative, yeah.
But they were like, just stay out of our hair. We good.
Right.
Yup.
It was a good lesson.
Hallelujah. Hey, all praises to the Most High. Everything we want to know is right here in this book, man. Our history, our culture. This is what it's all about. Man, hallelujah. So anyway, anything else real quick? Anything else?
No.
Bro, see, let me tell you something. If you go to any class and they don't do an open forum like this, without trying to embarrass you and call you out of your name and thinking that they're gonna be like, oh man, bro, this brother's gonna slam me, man. Hey man, be quiet, do this right there. That's not a congregation of the Most High. Because in the scriptures, they function just like this. Exactly like this. Just like
Words
this.
of exhortation.
Words of exhortation, exactly. No judgment, not trying to get all in your business and trying to see where you fall short at because your beard is not this or you ain't, that's not no congregation of the Most High.
Right.
It's supposed to be about exhortation. It's like what you say. Any word of exhortation, that's what it's supposed to be about. Speak on, that's right. Speak on. Hallelujah. All right, but anyway, if nothing else, we're going to stand up, face Jerusalem, close out in prayer.